Hello, everyone. I pressed the wrong button, and now the Horizon Zero Dawn is starting, but I don't want it to start yet because I wanted to chat with you about something first. Hey, everyone. Hi. I'm Trooper SJP. And Barentor, I'm glad you're here because you were saying something in Discord chat, and I wanted to talk about it. So I'm glad you're here because that's convenient. Hello, Javai. Hello, Rissa, and also Barentor PH, everybody. How are you? So here's the thing. I'm relatively on time today, and I know why. I figured it out. I was like, there often are really interesting conversations happening on Discord Saturday right before I start to stream, and then I'll like get involved in those conversations and just start chatting with them, and then I was like, oh no, it's 12:30. So I was like, no, I'm going to stop looking at Discord at 11:30-ish, and I'm going to eat breakfast. So there you go. So I'm Trooper SJP. This is the Academic Foxhole. Welcome in. Here we play video games, sort of, and talk RPGs. And we're playing Horizon. Hello, Volus. Breakfast is important. We are doing Horizon Zero Dawn today is what we're doing. And tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, I will be playing Dungeons and Dragons on Little Red Dot's channel, little_red_dot. And then that's what's going on. But, so here's the thing. There's a discussion. Oh, wait. It's called the Foxhole because Super is a fox. Wow. Wait. This is what I wanted to remind you all. Today is Free RPG Day. I don't know if you have a friendly local game store, but if you do, and if they participate, it is Free RPG Day. You could go there and maybe get, hey, Ice Bunny, like a free RPG thing. I mean, I don't know if you will get a free RPG thing, but it is Free RPG Day today, and I wanted to remind you all in case you all wanted to sort of swing by your store and get something. Oh, I am so sorry that your local game store is not friendly because that sucks. It makes me sad when the local game store is not friendly, when it's like one of those places you walk into and it's like you open the door and sunlight comes in and everyone looks at you like, rah, like that. I don't like that. I'm not wearing my brace at the moment for the stream because because it's actually hard to use the PS4 controller with the brace, but it's not hard to use the Xbox controller with the brace, weirdly. Rissa, Drive-Thru RPG has free stuff? I didn't know that. Oh, I will have to... I'm sorry, Ice Bunny. I'm sorry. I'm going to make a note that Drive-Thru RPG has free stuff as well, which means, you know, maybe you can go to Drive-Thru RPG, Ice Bunny, because they might have stuff still in your zone. Free stuff. I'm writing it down. My store has a policy where you only get free stuff if you bring a gun and mask. I sadly own neither. Is it cool though? Like, that's just my question. Does it all work out well? So there was this interesting conversation going on in my Discord, which, by the way, I have a Discord. Where's my cursor? There it is. If you are not a member of the Discord, there, you can. We're having a discussion about dwarves at the moment. Dwarves, bearded dwarves, all the dwarves, dwarf things to ponder. And Barentor brought up a question, which I thought was really interesting, that I just want to bring up for... Oh, you know what? While we're having this discussion, I can actually just go over here, because you know what I thought we could do? Where are we? We're here. There is a... what are we doing? I feel like there's travel in our future, and we can just travel a little bit. Right, there's some stuff here that we can uncover, which we can do. That's all fine. But there is a... Right over here, there is a cauldron that we haven't explored yet. So I thought we could just go there. And while we're cauldroning, we can chat. Right, dwarves. So this is the thing that Barentor said, which I think is interesting. to ponder. So we were talking about dwarves, and we were talking about bearded dwarven women and dwarves and all sorts of dwarven sort of conversations. But Barentor said this thing that I wanted to get back to because it's a thing that I think is sort of interesting. Nope, wrong button. Yes. So Barentor said if he wondered if we even needed fantasy races in our fantasy at all. Like, do we need dwarves and elves? And he was saying that sometimes he feels like it's just kind of a crutch that you're like, oh, I'll be a dwarf, and so I have a built-in personality, which is grumpy, angry, drinks ale, and hates elves, and I don't have to do any more RP work than that. And of course, PH points out, do we need them? No. Well, the thing is that here's the interesting thing about that. Sometimes you do need them. And when I say that because... So, you don't need anything in fantasy, really. Well, there are some questions about if that is true. And I don't mean... And so, I mean... For me, I'm pretty open to a lot of things. But, and this is what I think is really interesting. I know a number of players who would never want to play in a fantasy game that did not have fantasy races. I know a number of players who well, let me rephrase this, who never play humans at all. And so my dwarves are extraplanar dragon hunters. If I make them more explicitly space alien dragoners, have I ruined the fantasy? Yeah, right. See, Barentor knows players like that too, who
The signal's getting close.
And like I have run into players for whom their opinion is that human beings are super, super boring. And hey, Dema, and they would never want to play anything. They would never want to. Oh, nice! Happy Father's Day, Dema. Yeah, and they kind of hate humans, right? They hate humans, and if they cannot play, oh, look at all this, and if they cannot play a non-human, they think there's no point. Woo. Come on to my house, come on. Come on to my house, I'm gonna give you candy. Come on to my house, I'm gonna give you everything. Thank you so much for the host, Emma. I know that hosting, apparently it does good things for you, so I want to thank you for the host. My cousin will play any race once, then never again, because he's already done it. Oh, that's interesting. Humans are boring. I'm okay with humans, but I do tend to very much prefer non-humans, especially something related to the elements in some way. Oh, that's interesting, Javai. I'm going to come back to that. He has trouble imagining any member of a fantasy that is different or more than just the standard. It's, you know, what's interesting to me is that, so, let's, and which, this is kind of going back to sort of, oh, Dema? What? Come on, everybody. I said, now let's play a game. I bet you I can make a rhyme out of anybody's name. The first letter of the name, I treat it like it wasn't there. And then a B or an F or an M will appear. And then I say bo at a B, then I say the name, then banana, fan, or info. And then I say the name again with an F, very plain, then a fee, fi, and a mo. And then I say the name again with an M this time, and there isn't any name that I can rhyme. Ice bunny, bo, ice bunny, banana, fana, for ice bunny, fee, fi, mo, mice bunny, ice bunny, terraforming, bo, baraforming, banana, fana, for ferroforming, fee, fi, mo, meraforming, terraforming, Aurora, bo, aurora, banana, fana, for aurora, fee, fi, mo, morora. Aurora. Paladin, Bobalin, Banana, Fanta, Fofalin, FIFA, Momaladin. Paladin. Javai, Bovai, Banana, Fanta, Fofavai, FIFA, Mavai. Javai. Woo! Thanks for all those gift subs, Dema. This is very exciting. Ferroforming is a special talent. Thank you for those gift subs. This is lovely. So, just for the record, I should probably... What do I do with... you know... Look, there are bad guys here everywhere. I'm going to just move this off for a second. So, I was... thank you, Dema, for those gift subs. They are much appreciated. All of you new subbers, welcome in to the Foxhole. You're hanging out with us. And we've got... Oh, do you know what I'm doing? Rissa knows what I'm doing tomorrow. Tomorrow, I am running offline Cthulhu Confidential with Rissa as my player. And we're going to be doing one of the Vivian Sinclair adventures in advance of me running it on my channel. So you know. Oh yeah, stalkers are good. So then there was something else I wanted to tell you. Oh, right, we were talking about humans. So I know people who think humans are boring and would never ever play anything other than a human. And if you have players like that and they want to play in a fantasy game with you, they will be super peeved if they do not have their dwarves and elves available to them, because that is where their joy comes from. And Appy Hey Atterday, Upertray, thank you very much, Be Right. Thank you so much for the happy Saturday. But also, we just got some bits, and I would like to sing the bit song for you right now. Thank you for the bits, Rissa. Oh wait, no, yes. Thank you for the bits, Be Right. Be Right, thank you. Earway and hey, the anime. Earway and hey, the anime. Eve way at gale, out way of way up, way at wakes to ute at gale young way. Earway and hey, the anime. E they eyes gaze around, say. Old man the adiation pray, ooh ya, ooh, tre, ooh, be us the angreo. E way ever ne eat ray edley ansley, of bread lay ansley, ooh, te day. And when we see the anlayard will look lay at the eye at ray in the eye, wherein the money, wherein the money. We've got a lot of what it takes to get along. See, here's what I'm telling you. I feel like I finally have the rhythm of that one part that I love, and I am so excited. Like, I'm just right here in my life, living the dream of Pig Latin, is what I'm trying to tell you. Like, it's the Earwig anime song. Oh, Rissa, you woke it up with your... I'm so glad that the song is in your head when you woke up in the morning, because that's really good. No, not all fantasy is D&D. This is true, but... And this is something I feel like some of our Tolkien nerds may appreciate this, that people always say, oh, you know, fantasy RPGs, it's so Tolkien-esque, etc., etc. But I actually think that it's really D&D-esque. And then people will say, well, D&D is inspired by Tolkien. You're like, well, yeah, sort of. I mean, certainly halflings and all that business. But I think that D&D sort of ends up making its own thing. And when we say that people are wanting Tolkien, what they really want is D&D. It's kind of owned thing. And D&D has sort of created particular, or has sort of codified certain types of tropes, and I think that ends up being the thing that we think of as being fantasy. And I think that players, people who played a lot of D&D, have an idea of what fantasy is, and it's what D&D is, and they have become used to that. And if they don't get it, yeah, right. See, Krellin is on my wavelength. A lot of D&D players do not actually want Tolkien. They want D&D. I know plenty of fantasy that's pretty different, but then I've read a good amount of fantasy novels. Right, if you read fantasy novels, you'll get really different things. But if your main sense of fantasy comes basically from D&D, then maybe less so. Do you know what I mean? As someone that isn't a big fan of Tolkien, I do have to agree, Tolkien and D&D fantasy are quite different. Yeah, I think they are. Hey, Aurora, the problem is that there's always an inspiration for something, and every party tries to claim that inspiration. That is true. I also think, so what I think is really fascinating, right, is that they want this high magic, sort of Vancian high magic space. But I think that the thing about not having fantasy races is that if the players... I think what ends up happening, and this is the thing I think happens with Dungeons & Dragons, and also Shadowrun, and also Vampire. Certain games this happens to. Maybe all games, but maybe not all games. Not all games. That the players get really settled into the universe and they become experts in that universe, so much so that they don't like when their expert knowledge is no longer valid. So they know what elves are like. They know what dwarves are like. They know, right? And if you run a game, let's say we're gonna play Dungeons & Dragons, and there are no fantasy races, they're gonna be, a lot of them are gonna be mad because, like, those fantasy races are in the player's handbook. They're allowed to play them. They want to play them. Or if you say to them, well, you know, in my version, we're going to play D&D, but in my homebrew setting, all dwarves are actually sort of esoteric mystics who love nature. They may be mad at you because they have already in their mind what these things are. Like, they've sort of internalized it. Yeah, you have to preface changes and expectations. Yeah, totally. That's what Baron says. Control Freak says, mind you, if your introduction to fantasy was Terry Pratchett, your view of elves would be different, somewhat different to say the least. And that is true. And I think a lot of this has to do with where are you introduced, what kind of fantasy, where does your fantasy lie? Like, were you introduced to fantasy through Terry Pratchett, through reading books, a lot of different books? Were you introduced to fantasy basically primarily from D&D first, or through fantasy films? Because fantasy films end up being very different than what you're going to get in books, you know? I find that people say if you like D&D and you like Tolkien, I don't like Tolkien, but I play D&D. I dislike setting things in stone. The core games, in my opinion, are just one interpretation of a multiverse of pop. Oh, I agree with you, Dema. I agree that is true. Pratchett elves are ancient Irish elves, which are assholes. Elves are wonderful. They beget wonder. Elves are awesome. They create awe. Elves are terrific. They invoke terror. This is all true, Krellin. This is true. Yeah, and I think that I think what ends up happening, and I've been thinking about this a lot because of player handbooks. This is like my weird gaming thing that I'm thinking about at the moment. I do think I would be annoyed if I played D&D and at the first session was told there are only humans, more because D&D I know D&D and have expectations, not because I can't play non-humans. The setting should be explained in advance, right? And I think actually, but even if it was explained in advance, some people, maybe not Ujavi, but some people will still be annoyed. And PH says, Tolkien was fun at 12. I like the movies, that is all. But I've been thinking about this a lot recently. I've been thinking about the notion of a player's handbook and what that does to what we think about the idea of the multiverse. Gygax railed against the thought that early D&D was based fully on Tolkien too. He did, that's true. He tended to drift more sword and sorcery a la Lankmar, Conan, etc. than Tolkien. Yeah, that is true. So I was thinking about the function of the player's handbook. I was doing something here. I was looking at Stalkers. That's what I was doing. And one of the things I think that happens with the player's handbook, and you can disagree, I think that's fine, but this is what I'm pondering. I'm pondering what it means to have, no, there's not, but people sort of imagine D&D, in Tolkien, yeah, nothing at all. Hello, Vulpes. So here's what I'm thinking. I think that the existence of things like player's handbooks or RPG material specifically targeted towards players rather than GMs creates a certain different kind of expectation than if you don't have a player's handbook. So specifically, there's a player's handbook, And that player's handbook is sold to the player, and the player's handbook tells the player, here are all of the options available to you. I can, Gandalf, I'm a powerful wizard. Look, I can make my staff glow. And I think that when you have a player's handbook that tells the player how to make a character in the absence of a GM, then the players have certain expectations that go beyond GMs. Yeah, and they set expectations that they as players get to have certain things kind of outside of the GM, right? That there's like, it becomes the publisher telling the players they can have certain things. So I think because D&D has a player's handbook that players will buy and then read, I know I have some fixated students. I think that this creates certain kinds of tensions when it comes to customizing. No, Vance and Magic users aren't much like traditional wizards we think of either. So here's the thing, everybody. I have unlocked the override for stalkers. I wonder if I could override a stalker. I play homebrew settings so often that a player's handbook doesn't really matter. We'll have to check the GM anyway. See, Javai, this is why I wanted to get to. You bring up this thing that I was thinking about a lot. Krellin says, Vancian magic users use magic items way more than they use spells because holding spells in their heads is hard, so it's something they use sparingly. Look, I actually think that I want to try something unwise is what I want to do. That's a thought that I have, is that I could try something really not smart here. I think I want to try to get down in here and override one of these stalkers and have them fight each other. Problems with that is that people can make the characters which they want to make, but when they play, they realize the characters they wanted to make does not suit the game they're playing. Yeah, this is always I've never ran or played in a standard setting. I'm playing a video game, of course I'm going to do something unwise. This is true, I am. I'm going to kill this watcher over here, because I think that's a good idea. Let me just kill this watcher. One more. Ooh.
Sorry to spoil your fun.
Why are you not dead? There we go. Okay. It's dead. Can we name the watcher Giles? We should. So, I think this is where you get... So I really do think this is the strength of D&D. So, thinking about D&D versus GURPS... Oh, I just want to chat with you all about these things. Thinking about D&D versus GURPS, one of the things that people say... The player's handbook problem is why it's important for the DM to lay down what the game is about before character creation, for sure. Yes, but here's the thing about D&D I've noticed, is that... that thing was Will Ferrell's character in Austin Powers. I think the problem is that people often... Okay, look, I'm gonna sneak down right over here, everybody. I just made a lot of noise. But I'm gonna sneak right over here. Just be sneaky, everybody. All the sneakiness. Is the player's handbook not only there to make money for the company? I remember in HeroQuest and a lot of homebrews, the players never got books. In HeroQuest, no, but D&D is sort of based on the idea that there's a book for the players to buy. Hey, Forla Santo, welcome in. I love those hearts. And very often you'll have players getting a player's handbook. That is something that often actually happens. But the thing about homebrew is that D&D has... I mean, if you think about how D&D sort of came up, right? HeroQuest is the greatest game ever made. Beardy. I will note that that was a really good video. I will note that D&D has issues that I won't encounter, as issues arise from wanting to play typical D&D game, which my group has largely moved away from. Yeah. So one of the things I think is really interesting about... Somebody gonna come and visit me? All right, as this one is gonna come visit me, I just want to see if I can get an override in. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna override this stalker, and then I'm gonna just enjoy my life, is what I'm trying to tell you. It's gonna be really, really good. Just enjoying my life. That's it. And I'm gonna go over here, I think. There we go. Oh no! They can now see me, which is bad. I should finish my sentence. Oh, you know, long-form D&D is really... it's good. I will... Thank you, Krone. I will finish my sentence. I just want to get myself... Ooh, high away. Are you gonna fight each other? Like... There we go. Fight each other. Come on, you should fight each other. Good. All right. Now there's going to be fighting. That's awesome. In 5e, it's only called the Player's Handbook out of tradition. It's really just the base book for everyone now. Yes, and I got one for my birthday, and my brother, maybe my brother has it still. So one of the things I think that makes D&D so successful compared to, say, for example... Let me just do this. I just need to get a little bit of damage on this one. So, I'm coming from a GURPS place, right? Where I've played a lot of GURPS. And people always sort of wonder, why is it that GURPS is not as successful as Dungeons and Dragons? And people have a lot of theories for why this might be. Oh, is everybody dead? I don't think I got a lot of... I don't think I got any XP, but it's fine. There's stuff happening right now. I should probably figure out what's happening. What is... Oh, there are fights happening up there. Why are there fights going on? There are, like, big fights happening right now? Okay. I was like, something weird's happening. And there's, like, murder? We're gonna just notice that. Thank you. Maybe this is why the fights are happening, because I won't finish my sentence. So, a discussion like why is GURPS not as popular as Dungeons and Dragons? This is a discussion people have, and one of the answers that people come up with is that GURPS doesn't have adventures, right? That if GURPS had more especially modules, like it has to have modules, and if it had more modules, then it would be more successful. Like, this is the thing that people like to say. And let me do this. And then the question becomes, well, why doesn't GURPS have more adventure modules? And the answer is because there's no base setting in GURPS, right? That you could do anything. Like, you don't even know. Well, and actually, also, we actually do have there are adventures in GURPS, so it's not like it never happens. But I mean, it's a less frequent situation. And so people ask, what do you do about it? And people say, well, it's really hard to have adventures in GURPS because my things reverted. Okay. 80s D&D panic helped make D&D popular. That's true. Yes. So people will say it's because they don't have adventures, right? So that what GMs want is they want adventures, and they want a really set idea of what it is that you're going to be doing in a game, right? They want a particular kind of transparency. So if you think about something like, So if you think about, I'm going to finish this thought. Adventure modders may be one of your least favorite things, PH, but it makes running a game really easy. So if you think about D&D, players buy a player's handbook. They don't even have to have a GM yet, right? This happens with D&D. IR cameras would be so terrible. So think about this for a minute. Imagine this. You're a person, you've never played D&D yet. You can buy a player's handbook and start making characters, even if you don't have a GM. And some people, and Vulpes, some people never leave modules, right? So you can start making characters without having a GM. And then if you're a GM, you can be like, well, I will just... And everybody already knows what a game of D&D is going to be like because D&D has this really set realm of expectations. So then you're a GM, you don't know how to play, you buy a module, or you don't have a lot of creativity, and so you buy a module and then you run it. And everybody knows what's going to happen. We're going to go into a dungeon, we're going to fight monsters, we're going to take their loot, we're going to level up. Like, everybody knows what's going to happen in a D&D game. So you can, and then there are like thousands of modules, and you can't make a character that won't fit the game, right? You just make one of the 4 types, you make your character, you go into the dungeon, you do the stuff. And I think this particular kind of standardization allows you to have something like Adventurers League in games be so successful. People now can bump between adventure to adventure and module to module, and everything works out. Like, I can say I'm a 5th level character, and you know what that means. I played Vampires the Masquerade, and my DM told me the biggest issue that people have with it is that there's a lot of talking, so RP is a must, and also the world is super defined and has very little wiggle room. Adventures are nice for inspiration or for people who are new to a system, but after a while you need to use your imaginations and branch out. So GURPS is a hurdle for inexperienced users to overcome if they're used to D&D. Right. But also the other thing is, if I say to you, hey, I mean, just think about this for a moment. If I say, hey, everybody in chat, let's go play a D&D game on Saturday. Let's say, well, today is Saturday. I said, hey, next Saturday, let's all play D&D. What do we have to do between now and next Saturday to play D&D? I could say to you, oh, just make sure you have the player's handbook, make a 1st level character, and I'll see you on Saturday. We're gonna play the Lost Pyramid, right? So all I need to do is review the module, and then all you need to do is make a character, and then we just come and we just play. We don't have to have any other kind of conversation. Should we? I think we should, but we don't have to, right? You can just do that and it's fine. You don't need to know anything else other than that. My character in Vampire did a lot of talking in his head. He was a mute, that's true, and he had to text everything. We just had 2 new players to a GURPS game bounce because one had no experience and the other had 30 years of D&D experience, and both had trouble wrapping their head around GURPS. Yeah, I find new players are way easier to introduce to new systems, not just GURPS, but any new system, than longtime D&D players, in my experience. If somebody's been playing D&D for 30 years, it's harder for them to play often anything other than D&D. So that's a thing. But, right, so all the expectations set up D&D so that it's really easy to just play D&D. If I were to say to you, hey, next Saturday, we're going to go and play some Nobilis, or we're going to play Exalted, or we're going to play GURPS 1940s superheroes, or we're going to play Fate Core Botanists in Space. Like, there are a lot of questions you're going to have about what that game is as a player, and as a GM, I'm not going to have any adventure modules to, like, there's going to be no module for me to run, so I'm going to have to make up everything on my own, and if I've ever done it before, I'm not going to know what that even is supposed to look like. And then players might, if I'm not involved in player creation process, the players will could very easily make characters that won't work for the game at all, right? Or for that particular adventure, right? So because it's not as standardized, other games make it much more difficult to just sort of plug and play and just go. Oh, Jer, scheduling is the bane of everyone. Dema says, I like GURPS. There's an Alpha Centauri module that I love, but never got to play, too niche. That's the thing with the nicheness. Javai says, to be honest, they all sound way more exciting to me than D&D. They also sound exciting to me. Could you imagine how fun you'd have in Botanist in Space? Veteran of the Thaco Wars. Oh, I need to update my Nightbot. I bet you could do a really fun game. Like, I'm imagining right now, like, Fate Core botanists in space. But now I have to think, what would that be like? Okay, so you're all botanists in space. I would imagine maybe you are, let's say you could be. I mean, we'd have to have some discussions with the players. Ooh, Nightbot gets a Nightbot. Oh, okay, I got it. All right. Let's play a game. I bet you I can make a rhyme out of anybody's name. The first letter of the name, I treat it like it wasn't there. And then a B or an F or an M will appear. And then I say Bo at a B, then I say the name, then banana, fan, or info. And then I say the name again with an F, very plain, then a fee, fi, and a mo. And then I say the name again with an M this time, and there isn't any name that I can rhyme. Nightbot, nutbite, bo bite, but banana, fana, fo fight, but fee, fi, mo, might, but Nightbot. Dema, thanks for giving Nightbud a gift sub. Nightbud is just so mean to everybody, so I don't even know. It's a pity because Dungeon Fantasy GURPS tried to remedy that, but they went very much in the copy D&D way. Yeah. Terraforming Explorer, science team with. Right, think about that. Science team with botanists and stuff in an aimed sandbox. Right, that could be really fun. Right. So your team of botanists, maybe you're on a space station where the plant populations fail and you have to figure out why. Or and of course, there's questions I want to ask the players. I would say, do you want to be corporate botanists, or do you want to be academic botanists, or do you want to be government botanists? Like we could decide if we want to be corporate, government, or university botanists. And then you could be like, or private botanists, like maybe private contractor botanists, and maybe you are traveling throughout space doing freelance botany. Maybe you have been sent to terraform a space, right? First contact with plant people. There's so much you could do. Inter-party strife between the xenobotanists and the standard botanist, keeping the food air supplies for the party. I'm gonna be the villainous botanist. I just actually feel like it could be a really fun campaign, but it involves more work. It involves more work on the part of the GM to sort of set up what this might be like and also come up with adventures, because you're not gonna find modules for that. But it also involves more work for the players, because they have to now do work with character creation that is different, because before, like, I mean, you can come up with a D&D character at the moment the game starts, right? I mean, the player's handbook has quick builds, right? So you're just like, oh, we need a fighter. Oh, I'll just do an array, put it there, fighter, just take the standard gear, and I just go, and I don't need to know anything else. But for this botany one, you know, like all of a sudden, you have to make a lot of choices and you have to do a lot of thinking. Mushrooms are the solution here. You say it about everything, and it's always true. I'm just some guy named Greg who stowed away and have to learn botany and space survival, right? Like, and you could do that too. Ice Buddy says, in what system are you a botanist? That would be so cool to play with my brother. He's a gamer and training gardeners. Oh, you could play a botanist in any of the generics I think of. Like, you could be a botanist, certainly in GURPS, because GURPS has a really good sort of robust skill system. You could do it in Fate. You could probably do it in Savage Worlds. You could do it in, yeah, any of the generics. You could be a space botanist. No problem. Biodome. I'm just saying, there's like a lot you could do there. And so I think that for a lot of games that aren't as standardized make it more difficult. So like yeah, he works in plants. Yeah, so Fate, GURPS, like there are bunches and bunches of generic RPGs you could do a botany game in, no problem, like real easy. I mean, well, sorry. Not no problem. You'd have to do work to set it up, but you could do it. No worries. And I just think that's the difference, right? That you have this trade-off. In a game that is as standardized as Dungeons and Dragons, you're real fast to start. Like you don't You don't need a lot of prep, which often means sometimes no session 0. It often means no discussion about shared expectations, which I think is a problem. And then there was a show called Under the Dome. There was, and I watched it. I think I watched at least a half a season where like this whole town was put under a dome and nobody knew why, and there was like shenanigans and weirdness. I remember that show. I remember it. I thought it was interesting. I thought it was interesting. I was fascinated by the concept. It was something I hadn't seen before, so that was really cool. So D&D makes it easy to set up, right? And I think that makes it also easier to... That's right, it was a Stephen King story. Yeah, there was. Yeah, I know who you're talking about. Yeah, I enjoyed that show. So easy setup, easy to find people because there's less setup brain power, so you can just start. Oh, yeah, no, I thought it was a fun show. I was really interested to see where it would go. But then that sort of standardization becomes a straitjacket if you want to do anything different. All of a sudden, your elves do something different, people start freaking out because it's so standardized. They know exactly what's happening in Faerun, and they get mad if it's not that. They know exactly how to make a character. They get mad if it's different. No, this is the Last Cauldron. We're going to do the Last Cauldron right now, which I'm so excited about. But on the other hand, then you're standardized, so you don't necessarily get to do different kinds of things. Sort of expectations and habits and patterns are set, which can maybe give you a game experience you don't want. And thank you, Dema. This is the last one. Now, if you do something that's a different system that's more open, that gives you more freedom to tell different kinds of stories. It could be very cool and awesome, but it often means less support and also, less support and more, oh gosh, less support and more upfront work for the players and the GM. Maybe that's probably true. Our elves are different is a trope. That's true. By the way, I'm going into a cauldron and my entire inventory is full. So that's very me. I don't know why I do these things. Directed versus undirected content. Yeah. And I think it's always going to be a little bit of a challenge to sort of balance those things. You know, everybody, I'm going to just get rid of that. And having to get rid of some stuff. We're good. I mean, now. So just so you know, I didn't even kill any of those things. I just let them all die. And I'm okay with that. Yeah, it's true. Hoarders do have all of the things. Just all of them. I find that when people try and say, well, this doors are different, it can create confusion. And I've heard people say things like, why are you even doing that? Like, why spend all this time making your dwarves and elves different? We just want to play dwarves and elves. And not everybody's like that, but there are people who are invested in the idea that dwarves and elves don't like each other and that there's a rivalry, and they want to be people they saw in movies, you know? Having a focused game with directed content takes away the onus on the GM to make all the content, whereas undirected, the GM has to make more content as they could have anything. Oh, okay, all right, hold on. Hey, there's a cauldron here, and I can't get in the front door. Well, all right, so everyone, I cannot get in the front door. there is a hidden entrance, it looks like, perhaps, to this cauldron. And perhaps we will find out. I do remember where the Watcher was. I figured it's up there because that's what the Watcher's doing there. Hanging out, being a signal for me. Yeah, so I think it's always really like a bit of a tricky wicket. Let's see. Over there. Yeah, so I think it's a bit of a tricky wicket because the more expectations, the easier it is to put a group together, but the less flexibility you have. Why wouldn't a glowing thing... You know, I feel like this is a true and obvious statement, and I should have paid attention to the clearly obvious going to hit me with electricity situation going on there. Also, where am I? I'm so close to a road. I just want to zig-a-zig. Ah, here we go. This is it. A sticky wicket. I don't think any races are standard in my D&D world. You know, it's funny because I think about RuneQuest and some of these other systems. Do you hear something weird? Do I, you know, sometimes I take an actual road. Sometimes. I mean, not always. What are all these things doing here? Why are they here? Why? I played a custom game where the magicians ruled the kingdom, so elves and human magicians had higher places than dwarves. So a dwarf used an experiment to give themselves magical powers, and thus got themselves exiled by other dwarves. Interesting concept, but it got more and more confusing as we played. So look, there are a lot of these things over here, and I'm just wondering if maybe I can avoid them, or if I cannot avoid them. We're gonna just give a look-see to see if perhaps there is some sort of other... So this is the top, this is our crest. I am looking for... Yeah, I feel like... Yeah, so I'm on the top of this situation right here. This is like, we are right here looking at it. And I feel like we should have some kind of exciting secret entrance somewhere around here, perhaps? It's super pretty countryside. Like, it is gorgeous. I mean, look at this. Right? So here's our signal for our cauldron. And the question is, where might our... I hope I won't fall off the world. I mean, I might. That is a thing that happens with me sometimes, where I just fall off the world. It does. Don't go chasing waterfalls. Don't go jumping off cliffs. Nobody ever lets me have fun. Well, let me look first. The problem is that I killed that Watcher, and the Watcher's corpse I don't think is around much anymore, but it was like right over here. So the question, I've got to find a way to get around there, perhaps? Without dying. I should just jump off all the cliffs. I want to chase you, waterfall. Start running. It'll be fun. We'll just be like chasing each other around together. That's all. Yeah, no, I think that that D&D is this really sort of interesting space where the way it's set up gives it...
So much for being careful.
Hey, I'm always careful. More or less. I mean, kind of. Right, so look, here we are. Hello, Nightbot. All right, where might there be a secret entrance? because I shot that watcher that was watching and hiding. But I don't see an entrance there. I could jump off the cliff. Just a little bit. Like, I could jump off a little bit. Like, not a lot, just like... I joined and then immediately had to take off for a while. Oh no, we talked a lot about expectations in RPGs. Also, down there is an entrance, but we cannot get in that entrance. So I'm trying to figure out the way to find the secret entrance into this place. I do need, and I am gonna do that after I get off of stream today, because the next one we're doing is what do you call it? Where the water tastes... No. Night in the Woods. Though I wonder if making humans the oldest race is really enough of a difference to be different. And I also suppose you shouldn't be different just for difference sake. You know what I mean? Like, there's... I think that just being like, well, mine's going to be different doesn't... I don't think that's interesting unless there's a point to it. So... No, I can't repel, which is... sad. So, what are these things here? Oh, it's fine. What do we got? Let's do that. I'm gonna just shoot this.
I'll do what I have to.
Oops. You know, come on now. I could fast travel to the... I could. But I'm just going to kill those machines right now. There's just some machines I was going to kill. They're there. Might as well. Oh, weird. I was like, what is that? I was different because I didn't think the whole humans can mate with elves and orcs, but elves and orcs can't mate with each other thing was silly. I always wondered about, like, why don't we have other... Like, why don't we have other multi-breed things? What's up with that? You know? Come on. I'm traveling this way. I think it'll be fine. Hello. No, leave me alone. Leave me alone. I'm just half X. I think more half X races would be interesting. Oh, I will see you later, Aurora. Where are you migrating to? Where are you migrating to? Also, where am I? Oh, I see where I am. You don't seem to understand the part of the precision arrows. I know. All right, so I'm going to go this way. We're walking around. It's fine. Oh, you know, there might have been a D&D supplement about that. So we're traveling. We're traveling again. We're just gonna wander around, just curve around. We're on our way back. Dark Sun has half dwarves. Really? Are they half human, half dwarf? Let's quick save. All right, let's follow this path. Right, we're gonna follow this path. Let me gather this. Boom. All right. So we're following, the thing is, this is the human dwarf. It's interesting that humans are so excited to mate with everyone all the time. Just, you know. Oh, it's a rock. I'm gonna pick it up. Just picking up rocks. Human. All right. It is the human superpower. So let's walk this way and see where this will take us, because it looks like a path. Why isn't... Oh, wait, it is. I know Captain Kirk. And this begs a question of elf, orc, elf, dwarf, Orc dwarf. That is interesting. They had more with 5A, but they pulled a lot of back to basics and are slowly bringing stuff out. Those tropes are there for a reason. Stories require contrast. The trope is to provide something to contrast against. Thanks, Hydration Bot. No. Yeah. Half human, half... It's interesting, all the new ones that were brought up. So here we are. This is not where I want to be. One half orc says nothing about what the other half is. Half. Well, that is also fair. Where am I? That did not seem to be where the secret entrance was. Oh, they're a quarter, are they? That's interesting. Genasi are half human, half element. That's right, they're the half elementals. What are we doing right now? I am looking for a secret entrance. There's the Watcher right over there to remind me what's up. Half orcs, half ogres exist, but they're called ogrillions. Half elves can be half elf, half elf can have a half elf and human parent. I would like a system where you actually got to select or randomize what genetic inherent traits you got from which half of your racial ancestry. Ouch! I just hurt myself, everybody. I just wanted you to know that I hurt myself. I fell off of the thing. Hey, do you think... This is what we gotta do. Oh, they're all back again. Dang it. It's fine.
Go quietly.
We're gonna just do this. We're doing this. This is it. We found it. And, we're gonna kill that. That's it. We're just killing all that stuff. And I'm gonna sort of step over here for a moment because people are trying to shoot me, which is like super rude. We just decided to avoid all of that. Tolkien's word for troll. Yeah, that pillar was like, oh. I like it how everybody wants to spell like magic different, but I spell my, oh hey, look at that. But I spell orc with a K. I spell orc with the CK. My orcs are spelled ORCK. Mine are special. Hey, we made our way in, by the way. I think I've lost my Timmy, though. Game looks pretty. And here we are, in the cauldron, gonna do some puzzles together. Orcs with a C are fantasy. Orcs with a K are Shadowrun. But what are orcs? What are orcs with a CK? Orok. They're unique. Yeah. It's mine is gonna OORKC. That's my unique orc. I prefer orc, but I get a lot of guff back from that. So at least it isn't. You know, I want to know who runs Bartertown. Actually, I think Master Blaster. Orcs are confused. Runs Bartertown. Hey, gang, guess what? We're inside the cauldron. This is our I have no inventory space. Auroch is a good word for orc. Have you ever read Grunts by Mary Gentle? I haven't. The last battle told from the point of view of the orcs, largely for comic effect. Oh, all right. But before I jump in here, is there anything I need to worry about in here? There's a supply crate. I'm not seeing any monsters. So I think we're fine.
Get it while I can.
Orc is my orc based on French mythology. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Do you Are you concerned at all? I mean, no one runs Barrowtown. Some dude named Max killed him. That's true. Who is this guy named Max? Why is he always killing people? What's up with that? I don't even understand. Orktown is Alameda County. Oh, I didn't know that. Really? In the Bay Area? Orcs are genre non-binary. Games Workshop actually changed the name of all their fantasy races in order to have legal dominion over them. I know, the place is super clean. It makes me nervous. Sergeant Major Guzarak. The good news is you made the Orc Ball team. The bad news is as the ball. Oakland was renamed to Orkland. That's so weird. Huh. I have to ponder that. I need to ponder that. Well, there. Okay, but I will point out, Barantor brings up, I think, an important thing, that sometimes renaming your fantasy races is so that you can have copyright over them. And you can say, well, mine are different, so I have copyright. That's, Hey, Cyclonus, how are you doing? We are currently talking about, we're theoretically playing, oops, come here. Just go right there. Thank you. We're currently theoretically playing Horizon Zero Dawn, but we're actually talking a lot about standardization in fantasy, in Dungeons and Dragons, and the need to uphold it or to pull away from it. And what does that mean? For example, what do we feel about having all orcs and dwarves being basically the same all the time, and how that could be bad, but then sometimes players want that? You just offloaded 4 long boxes and 5 short boxes of comics. What comics were they? I'm such a hoarder.
Wet. But I tan this leather well. It'll keep.
I feel like I never want to give up my comics, even though they're not comics anybody cares about. So yeah, what? Blaze. I'm reading all the Shadowrun novels. Orcs were given such a bad... Yeah, this is the thing that I worry about. It really feels to me like that is going to be the case, you know? Let's try to get rid of some things in my inventory. What do I have in my inventory? Is there anything that it makes sense for me? Because, I mean, I feel like I'm in a pretty good space with my stuff. So, yeah, Falcon Venom, that's what it is, right? I mean, this is why I'm nervous about them making Oakland Orktown, because I was like, oh, is that just more making them bestial black people? Because that makes me nervous. Marvel stuff from the last 20 years or so. Oh, I'm cycling a fair amount. Ah, okay, all right. I am going to get rid of the shock wax root. And the fire kiln root. This is what I'm going to do. You know, Oh, bright. It's not good. You know what I mean? You're like, I don't feel comfortable with this at all. Just feeling uncomfortable. And this is where I think it becomes really interesting about what are we... All right, so I'm here. I'm keeping my damn near complete runs of X-Men and Iron Man and my Transformers collections. So we want to get here. The question is, what is the way to do that? I think we're just going to have to jump in the water, everybody. Oh, hey, I didn't even die. You can't always judge depth of water. Yeah, right. So Will Smith is the racist human, so it's totally fine. Halflings are a good reason to rename a race. People tend to think of halflings as short and fat. In fact, mainly Bilbo was short and fat. But you can't get away from that trope easily unless you call them something different. That sets a mental image that's different from the Bilbo fatness. The Iron Tower series calls them werelings. Also, Tolkien sued D&D. What is this? Hey, everybody. What is that? That's a Thunderjaw. That seems bad. I'm very concerned. I want you all to know that I'm concerned right now about what is happening. Yeah, halflings are skinny and athletic. The bestial black man is exactly the rep that orcs got in classic Shadowrun. Yep. I can tell that it was meant to be sympathetic to the plight of POC in modern America, police brutality, half-assed attempt at racial harmony, but it did not handle the content well. Right? Like, yeah, if you make them actual sort of bestial monsters, then you're not really undermining a lot, so that's bad. Yeah, the first edition of D&D had halflings and the hobbits, and then they got sued. So this looks bad. I also have to rappel down, apparently, which makes me very concerned, because that means I'm going to be down there with them. And that doesn't look good to me. I mean, this looks bad. I'm just noting that I am feeling... Are they? Well, they're seen as... I mean... Oh, hi. They tend to be stronger, right? Like, they're stronger. They often make good fighters. Like, they don't tend to be portrayed as intellectual. Yeah, I'm going to kill. I'm going to kill one of these. Give me a second. Oh, this is a problem. And I'm going to kill another one of these things. Shadow, well, maybe Shadowrun does, but whenever I've seen people play orcs, they've not played them as intellectuals. So maybe the game itself goes against it, but when I see people playing it, they don't tend to play orcs that way. The irony is that Adventures Middle is a D&D variant that uses Middle Earth. Don't worry, you can buy a story character-centric handwave of human lifespan for your orc troll. Yeah, but see, here's the thing. You are Krellin, you are rare, right? You are not the standard. I hate to tell you this, Krellin. You are not the standard person. Your relationship, like, you do different things with that. Just saying. What wasn't deep, but she also was physical and not particularly smart as a character. Ooh, ow. Ooh. I don't want to. Right, also, they tend to be not particularly good, like people will, because people have these stereotypes with them. Others as a system. So it's just a tad worrying. So I've got to figure out. Yeah, that's fair. All right, so here's what we got. We have to figure out how to open this thing up. Oh, I don't. I'm feeling really bad about this. Also, the first depiction of orc in a Shadowrun novel was the protagonist's sister, who was clever, but persecuted by the racist system. Oh, that's cool. The stat caps lean towards orc troll, lean orc troll towards the brutes. Well, I mean, I think this is the thing that thank you, Dema, because I remember looking at character creation, and not for 6E, and what Dema says is true. Because that's the thing, character creation will often give you signals about what kind of characters you're making, and if character creation okay, it looks like there are 3 overrides. No, let me do the fight first. Let me do the fight first, and then if I die a couple of times, then... Oh, hey, too late. I was, not ready. It's cool. I wasn't ready for that fight to start. I thought maybe I'd have to do multiple ones, but, we're gonna, yep, So, that's, surprise. Surprise. Oh, hi. We got stuff going on. It's very exciting. So, so we're gonna just try to, you know, it's really good. Very excited about the way this fight is happening. I wasn't ready, and that's cool. I'm going to try really hard to... Ooh, hi. I need to move. Let's, okay, component removed. We're gonna try to... Okay, we're gonna do our best here. We're doing our best. We will see how this goes. Okay. So, gang, I've got this big monster on its way to try to get me, and I wasn't ready for it. And, that's really awesome for me. And, I'm really excited about where my life is right now. That's, let's see. Can I maybe... Oh, hey. Nope. Okay, hold on. Yeah, I'm... For Lo Santo, you're saying something that I want to read. Can I maybe just pull some more things off of it? Okay, let's get some more components removed. I need to look at what components are on this thing right now. Let's see what we got. Oh, you still have that one. Let's see if I can... Ooh. I'm gonna try to remove more components off this thing before I get right at it. It'll be fine. What do we got? Oh, okay. Okay, I got more components off, so I'm doing well. I'm doing well, I think. I mean, I'm taking some damage, but... Ooh. Not what I want. Hey, what does this do? It's... Okay, I'm a... Oh, hi. How are you? I'm stuck in a place I don't want to be. I also lost the disc launcher. Hey, everybody. I feel like this is not going super badly. Ooh, hi. Ooh. Well, that wasn't great. Okay. Hey! Hey, monster. That was not what I wanted. Look, I think we're doing okay. Kind of. Except that it's all up in my business right now. Let me do that. and let me try to run away from it, and then also let me set bombs. Oh, goodness. Hey, everybody. I've got this thing that's all about my business right now, and I wish I had, I really would like... Get away from me. Oh, you know what I need? Oh, wait, you know what I need? I know what I need. Hold on. I need to go into my inventory. I've got a really cool thing that will help me with this. I need my bombs. Let's throw my bombs. Whew. I have an idea. I have bombs. But I want to see what you said. Hold on. I have a one-shot that I occasionally run. All right, so Axe says... yeah, the books attempt to equate the plight of orcs to the plight of POC, but the results are mixed at the best of times. Did they really try to ask the question, are these really like these stereotypes? Or do the people who fall into those stereotypes behave like this because it's just easier in our culture to fall into that and then fight against it while the rest of the world just assumes I'll be like this stereotype? I have killed one of these before, but they're miserable. I have a one-shot that I occasionally run. It's an Underdark type of adventure where the players play a group of Minotaurs, and I explain that these Minotaurs are a proud race, thoughtful, intelligent. And still, I've yet to run it where the players didn't have Minotaurs talk like Gronk wants food. It's really hard to get people to erase stereotypes. Yeah, that is really true for Losanto. It's really hard, right? It gets really hard to do that because you want people to not see them that way, and then people do it anyway. Ugh. For Losanto, that's why I wonder about taking out fantasy races sometimes, because of those tropes, making it too easy to have a one-dimensional character. Yeah. Yeah. It's... yeah. Dead Branch, hey Dead Branch, says, what I believe it is like the real world, because not all orcs in Shadowrun fit the stereotype, but in Shadowrun, a majority of orcs are forced into the socioeconomic position that many PRC are in. Yeah, so I feel like... yeah, I should just play more explosives, lots of explosives. You know, I think one of the things that's tricky, though, about fantasy races, the way that fantasy races, not always, but often do, is that we'll get there for a moment. Not many RPG have a smart orc, ogre, or even troll. Fantasy as a genre has so much untapped potential. I'm doing my physical therapy. Potential for interesting stuff. Imagine a society full of trolls who actually are a century ahead of humans and elves tech-wise, and they wear pelts and stuff to fool those who might steal their tech and knowledge. Dead Branch says, Axe, really... find SR as a lens through which the world is distorted and further mythical races are added to the prism of population. How trolls are addressed, elves, dwarves, they all fit the general acceptance of each of their respective races by a general human population in almost any game that contains them. And what I think is really interesting is I think this is where we have to really think about this and be careful, and that is we can say, oh, it's just about how we sort of see them, like it's just about stereotyping, and so it's not who they really are. But then you have to see whether or not, for example, the character creation enforces certain things, right? So, for example, dwarves in D&D get a plus their constitution. Do you know what I mean? And like, if... Does your character creation say, okay, that's just a stereotype, but they have a -2 to their intelligence and a +2 to their strength in character creation, right? And I think that we have to think about what the character creation system says about particular races. If you're going to have races be differentiated that way, then what are you saying? And each game does that a little bit differently, but that becomes a thing to think about. Axe says... I love this setting of SR, I really do. I just feel let down a bit by some of the novels in early canon. The canon seems to have evolved and gotten better. That's often the case. if I were to enter an SR game, I would want to make sure that the game did avoid the old racial stereotypes, like Lauren did for Corpse Sins. Yeah. SR has different racial caps, but no reason to get a minus anything. Well, that's good. All right, I think that maybe. Hey, leave me alone. I'm going to get it with all of my sticky bombs, and I'm going to, you know, try to get a little bit of that. All right. I'm gonna hit it with bombs, everybody, and it's gonna be really good. At least I hope it's gonna be really good. I'm planning on bombing the heck out of this. I think we're gonna be good, maybe. Okay. I wish I could shoot in that side area, because I feel like that's the way to go. Ooh. I think we're gonna be, because like there's clearly a side zone. I'm gonna make more bombs. I think I've got this one. Yeah, we got it. We killed it. It is killed. Oh. Hey everyone, we killed it. We just murdered it, like a murderer. Doesn't that make us feel good about our life choices? I think it does. Yay. We killed it, everybody. I'm gonna have to make some stuff. It's fine. Oh, we said. Also, Janice Werner was never depicted as anything but a person. Becoming an orc didn't change or adjust her situation. She didn't even radically change when she caught HMHVV and became a Wendigo. She was in love with the Wendigo that took her in, and it was a very human sort of relationship. I'm eating a Vienna finger, everybody, because I think they're delicious cookies. Plain, but good. Proxy Minds. Dread Branch says, I agree with you here. Race caps honestly should be removed if we wanted more freedom and less stereotyping. Though simultaneously, as an example, my heritage is from a part of the world where people are larger and a number of contenders for World's Strongest Man come from. I'm tall and don't particularly work out much, but I'm stronger than most people. There's a genetic component to character creation as well, things outside of even our control as humans with their own bodies, and your comment got cut off there. Dread Branch. Ropecaster push shadow arrows. So here's the thing that's really interesting, Dread Branch, about what you're saying. My home system is GURPS, and in GURPS, you get what you pay for. You know what I mean? Like, you get what you pay for. It costs what it costs. Oh, I think it was the Twitch limit. So, for example, if you want to be... Oh, and maybe it's handled inappropriately in the context of that instead of race. It should be a genetic heritage, options for that, and the variants around the world could be proved to be open. Yeah, so I think Fantasy Age is a thing where racial bonuses are done randomly, or you choose 2 from a set of 8. You don't get all of them, so different elves come different cultural... Oh, that's interesting. That's interesting, Barantor. I like what Elder Scrolls did with Khajiits. They are catfolk, but they really went out of their way to ensure that Khajiit weren't preening themselves constantly, had a distinct dialect and accent. As a result, they don't come off as mere catfolk. And so the stereotypical catfolk activities like licking their paws and drinking milk can be left behind if you say Khajiit instead of catfolk. Oh, everything pumpkin. So here's what's really interesting. So in GURPS, You get what you pay for. So if you want to be stronger than other people, then you just take strength. And if you want to say, I'm from a stock of folks who are sort of bigger and stronger, you just buy those traits. Oh, I will see you, demo. Yeah, oh, that is bad. That is bad about Khajiit. That is a bad thing. Oh, that too. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, SR does have variant race templates. Middle Eastern orcs are hobgoblins, not orcs. They have different appearance and different attitudes. Yeah. And so I think that becomes a thing, right? That in GURPS land, you can be someone who's... what about racial templates? See, Dungeon Fantasy is trying to be Dungeons and Dragons, right? So it is trying to recreate Dungeons and Dragons, including all of those elements. Although, I will say, in regular GURPS, you can always modify templates, not use a template, like you don't have to. You know, Dungeon Fantasy, trying to be D&D, and all that implies. And that is a thing. That is a Triforce. I don't. Hey, by the way, that disc launcher was fun. I enjoyed shooting discs at it. I feel like that was effective. And now I just have to kill this thing. I don't think I have to...
Much already.
Oh, no, I want to hold more things. Okay, I need to get rid of 2 modifications. In original GURPS, racial templates existed and did incline characters to certain things, since attributes had scaling costs that ignored... That is correct. And it is good, I think, that in 4th edition they removed that. Although, I think that in 4th edition you can still get some kind of... modifications. You still get some kind of stuff. There's still... there's still something, right? Because if you have a template... Because I think the template cost... I think in 4E, the template cost is what it costs, so it's a package. So if you have a package that balances out advantages and disadvantages such that it results in a 0 cost, the disadvantage in that template doesn't count against your disadvantage limit, I believe. I won't argue with you for the case of GURPS being a freeform system, but that's what GURPS was. This is true. Shadowrun was very world-oriented race and originally limited mostly to the Americas, yeah. As the lore of SR has evolved, I think they could lean away from the limited regional racial templates in favor of more freeform templates with the flexibility for choice while keeping genetic traits in mind. Yeah, and I think that becomes the important thing, right? Why are these separate? Huh. I think that becomes the thing to sort of think about. Can you... I mean, and then also granularity becomes a question. And what I mean by that is there are games that want to make, you know, that want to make female characters have minuses to their strength, saying women are weaker than men. And of course, what do we mean by weaker? Women are not necessarily, that really depends on how you're going to define that one. There are a lot of different ways to define strength. Some ways will advantage women characters, some won't. And okay, let's see. Personally, I love the Romany stereotype. I've met a number of Romany people in real life, and basically 0% of the stereotype has ever rung true. But the problem with the stereotype is that it's used to justify violence against Romany people, right? So the stereotype of Romany people is that they're criminals, and that stereotype is used in the continuing persecution of Romanian people today. Like, in the world that we live in right now, Romanian people are still treated really poorly. Like, they're still jailed and oppressed and beaten, and those stereotypes are the thing that helps justify that poor treatment.
There you go. Information to help me override more machines.
And, you know, because when I was in Europe, people would say just like these things that were shocking to me. Shocking. Like, just the most racist things about Romani people. And I'm like, really? You're just gonna, like...
Hephaestus is the source of the cauldron data intrusions. It's been forcing cauldrons to make aggressive machines. Deadlier and deadlier year by year. Why? And what or who is Hephaestus?
Oh.
Another mystery to add to the list.
Okay, right, yeah. So, trace result, Hephaestus. Alert, infiltrate, intrusion, successful. Command template acquired. Decode, initiate, successful. Encroachment threat, human. Fauna threat high. Flora threat high. Biosphere threat high. Directive call. Production override initiated. All their priorities rescinded. Oh, well, that's creepy. Yeah, thank you, Krone. That's another one, right? Yeah. Yeah. Well, Black, Latino, Romani sort of depends on, yeah, right? Yeah. Depends on where you're at, but yeah. And let's, yeah. Despite that kind of stereotypical attitude, that's learned cultural animosity. And until we develop as a species, stop being assets towards one another because of where we came from, won't truly grow as a global. Yeah, yeah. And we have to, yeah, we have to like not, let's not do that. Let's be good to each other. You know what I mean? We really, yeah. Yeah. Oh, you know, I was thinking, we also do it with people with mental disabilities. That's another one we do it to. We can be jerky. And that's not nice at all. I wish we'd be less jerky. I'm gonna be hit by a lot of monsters right now, and that's rude. Okay. And I've got monsters everywhere at me. Oh, also physical disabilities too. Definitely. I need to do that. And I need to do that. And I need to figure out who's trying to kill me and stop them from doing so. Hello. Hello, stalkers. Up in my face. How are you doing? I'm kind of like in a not happy space right now with these monsters all up in my business, and I just want you to know it. Oh, I'm dead. I just died because they were up in my face. I went through that whole monstrous thing, and then I just died. And most that talk smack about people with special needs now. Oh, yeah. Oh, it's so, more death. Like, I mean, oh, hello. In SR5E at least, taking the paraplegic flaw does come with the benefit of getting increased sprint multiplier.
To make aggressive machines.
Oh.
Deadlier and deadlier year by year. Why? And what or who is Hephaestus? Another mystery to add to the list.
First death, not bad. And it wasn't even with the, it's just that we've got all these stalkers here. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna just have to, like, deal with this somehow. We're gonna make bombs. We're gonna set bombs down, and it'll be fine. Although, actually, can I, wait, maybe I can just sneak. If I can just sneak, be sneaky, then I feel like my life is way better. I just need to be sneaky about this. Like, this is what we have to learn. And then that's it. So they have issues with stairs and obstacles and such, but on open ground, like city streets, the paraplegic runner is actually faster. Oh, that's cool. I mean, also, can you even... Oh, hi. How are you doing? I would like to override you? No! Wrong button. Wrong button, everybody. I pressed the wrong button and my life is super sad now. And I'm gonna be really sad in my life. Like, I just want you to know, like, this is bad. Bad, bad, bad life. Bad life, everyone. Bad life. In case anybody wants to know, my life, it's bad. That's just, there you go. So, bad life. You know, this is not good. This is bad. A lot of role-playing is games exploring but here's the problem, that people don't dissect the stereotypes in the RPGs. They just indulge in them, right? Like, rarely do I see people dissecting the stereotypes. Like, when people are playing the dwarf that is drunk, that's basically some kind of stereotype of Scottish people, how often are they deconstructing those stereotypes? They are rarely deconstructing those stereotypes. They're just indulging them, and they're like, I get to play a drunk dwarf. You know what I mean? Like, that's often what they're up about, and they're just sort of enjoying being drunk dwarves. And you say that, Ice Bunny, but you don't even like sports. You don't even like sports. Okay, we've got these people up in my face right now, which is not what I wanted. Maybe they'll go away. Maybe they'll leave me alone now. Probably not. They're still trying to shoot me. Okay. This is... what is even happening in my life right now? I feel like and they're not even... gang. In Stardom Like GURPS, you don't get to have bonus points for a problem you Which I think makes... I like the idea that if it's on a disadvantage, it's not a disadvantage, right? If it's, you know, it has to be disadvantageous for you to get points for it. I didn't actually drop it, but it's fine. Oh gosh. You know, I wasn't planning on fighting these things, but apparently they want me to shoot them. But it's fine. We're on our way there. We're gonna be fine. It'll be okay. Okay. Yeah. Right, if it's not a disadvantage, then it's not a disadvantage. Oh. Not even dealing with the whole testosterone levels thing that went... Oh my gosh. I don't even... Oh, so mad. Right, because it's also based on incorrect science. Oh. It's not good, everybody. We sometimes are not good to people. And that makes me really sad. With regard to people only indulging the stereotypes, I feel that a significant reason for that is the system, rather than the players or the inclusion of the stereotypes. I'm open to the idea that I could be wrong about that.
Mine now.
You know, for Losanto, I don't know. It's possible. I'd have to ponder that. Like, how much of it is the system? I think that system does matter, right? So I do think that system is important there. I don't know the relationship. I'd be interested in thinking about that because I think it's a plausible theory. Again, I see that it's a cultural stereotype that a lot of people just go around with because it's easy and established. In my game world, dwarves are industrious engineers and mechanics, traders and guild masters and mercenaries. And depending on the region of the world, different cultural norms and industries from heritage regions. Dwarves born in multicultural cities take on the traits of those cities and find their own way of life, like a real world. Yes, yeah. Is this game worth a buy? Yes, Mr. Arendelle. It totally, Ariandel. It is. It's really good. Honestly, why do we have gender-separated sports? History, probably. It's on the player and content creator to break the stereotype. Yeah. Well, I mean, I think it's on everybody, right? And should I buy the complete edition? Oh, get the complete edition. I haven't done the DLC yet, but I think you should do it. Oh yes, the story is great. We do play it. I think quite often a racial bonus isn't presented as a stereotype, but instead fact. That's the problem. A lot of special needs kids get sports forced on them. They seem to enjoy it. You hated sports being forced on you, though, didn't you? Like, you were like, no sports for me, ever. Do not like. All right, so where are we at right now? I think we've killed lots of things. That's not what I want. I want this. I think we can... Ooh. Somebody's watching me, and I have no privacy. Oh, I always feel that somebody's watching me. Tell me, is it just a dream? A mere phantom DBX. Thank you for the follow. That puts us at 470. Only 30 more followers left before we do a stream in Pig Latin, which is going to be so exciting. Yes. So yeah, I think, no, we are at the moment, we just did a thing, we saved. We're going to go do story stuff right now. We're going to head over here for some story related things. So let's fast travel over here because we can do story related stuff. Many fantasy cultures, particularly dwarves, are very insular and much less influenced by non-dwarvish cultures around them. I haven't done it. It's just what I observed when I taught in school. But of course, dwarves don't have to be insular, right? Like, they could not be insular. We could make dwarven cultures that are great traders and interact with people all over the place, right? We could do that rather than them being sort of something like out of Deliverance. They could be huge sailors, right? They could be foremost sailors. They could be explorers. Like, they could be like the #1 explorers in a setting because they're so hardy or whatever. So I feel like you could do a lot of things. And some of the things I think I like what was that Falcom or was that Dread? Let me see. It was Dread, right? With Dread sort of talking about this not being a racial fact, but how people act, but I am so sad with my lack of medicinal herbs, but a way of, but just like acculturation, and that if you have dwarves who live in different places, they're not like that. And I think this becomes, we need to head north. We're heading north. We're heading north without enough supplies, but that's our life. We're gonna just do it. I agree. That's why I said that it's on content creators, yeah, and players to break away from the established long-held stereotypes. If we want change, we make change. That's exactly right. And I completely agree. And to go back to this question about, is it the system, right? Because that was that question. Is it the system? Is it D&D itself? Is it part of the system that encourages this? Oh, good. I'm not late for the continuation of the Great Dwarf discussion of 2019. Reporting for duty! This is why I think you and I need to play Microscope with some folks on stream sometime. Aloy Donner taking the northern path, and then she's going to eat people. But that's cool, right? Eating people. So,
Sunfall. The Mad King Duran's summer palace. A bulwark of Carja might against the howling Forbidden West.
Thanks for the history lesson.
But they have no idea what lies beneath. We will learn much from this, Aloy.
That's what I'm hoping.
We're learning stuff. So here's what I was thinking, right? I was thinking, actually, dwarves and Tolkien were originally basically the universal traders, but then were basically robbed by an elvish king, and that split their races, and they shut down trade with elves, at least on a large scale. And this was before men were really in the picture. See, like dwarven sailors, yeah, this is interesting to me. And I think dwarven sailors would be really fascinating to think about. Have I spent any time playing Dwarf Fortress? I haven't. The DF community has a very distinct set of ideas about what a dwarf is and what prejudices a dwarf has compared to an RPG gamer. Oh, that's interesting. For instance, elves are utter dicks in DF, so most DF players hate them and assume their dwarves would rather cook elven bones than trade with elves. Oh, so interesting. Emo dwarven sailors. I saw something that had halflings as sailors because they take up less weight on ships but do just the same work. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, and I think what's interesting, because there's this question of whether or not some of these stereotypes are about the system. And this is a question that was brought up. And I'm still thinking about it because I tend to think that the system that you're playing in does impact how the game works. You can always fight against it, but I do think that system matters, that system impacts what things you think are possible or not possible, right? And so, while I don't necessarily know exactly how and in what ways, and I'm not going to sort of marry the idea just yet, I think that it's entirely possible that system does impact these things in ways that are important. So what does this mean? What does this mean? This means it's up to the players to break those stereotypes, to sort of try to be more thoughtful. And I think it's also, is it Mac compatible? And I also think it'd be really important. I think it becomes important for game designers, right, to be thoughtful about what kind of rules they are including in their game. Now, I tend to think this is true all the time, that I think that as a game designer, I mean, think about this, right? If your game has, I mean, to go back to Ron Edwards' System Matters, if your game has a poison skill, that means, oh, Dwarf Fortress. Wait, there are people crying. I'm writing down Dwarf Fortress, by the way. And everyone, free RPG day, and apparently Drive-Thru RPG has some free RPGs today. Like, if dwarves have a racial resistance to poison, there is probably a reason for that, and however that manifests, it will influence other traits of dwarf society. Yeah, right. Yeah, Pumpkin. That's right. If all of a sudden, if all dwarves have a resistance to poison, that's going to make people who play dwarves play, and that's going to be in their mind, right? So, for example, on Ghost of Saltmarsh, the last session, we were up against these things that had, there was a spider that had poison, and people were being poisoned, and my character, who's a cleric, but also a dwarf, I was not worried about getting up close and personal with that spider because I knew that I had resistance to poison, and, right, so because I know that about my dwarf, that impacted how I played that character. And also my dwarf would know that they have resistance to poison, right? So I think about the ways in which even little small details all of a sudden make a difference. And I think for another example would be, I once played a stereotypical dwarven cleric. I mean, don't be ashamed. There's it's just what are you going to do with it? And we all start places. I think the Tolkien type of racial portrayals are part of the issue with how races are handled anymore. Again, with the familiarity of the behaviors and stereotypes, we as players and content creators don't have to use them as examples. We permit ourselves to do despite the, this seems to be back down the mental path of genetic propensity of traits, though. Things throughout the world influence the way traits develop and are portrayed. But of course, also genetic propensity is not destiny, right? Like, I imagine, Dread, you come from a place of people who tend to be sort of bigger and taller, but I bet there are people where you're from who are not big and tall, right? And I also think about, people will say that, let's say, Chinese people are small and short, but Chinese people in the United States don't tend to be if they grow up here, because they're eating lots of food that's going to make them big and strong. And so I kind of think about the ways in which even a genetic propensity is not like, it's not destiny. And so propensity, like, and so I think that becomes the question of, are you putting it into mechanics where it is required, or are there suggestions? Like, how do we decide to write the rules, right? Because we could say, hey, this group of people tend to have this and this and this. Here are some options for you, which would then be different than this group of people are always like this. This is required to play this kind of character. So I think that we could really think about how do we make the mechanics and what kind of messages those mechanics, what kind of messages and what kind of messages are they sending? Maybe because dwarves' resistance to poison, they choose to live in more poison and more poison prone environments. Maybe a swamp. You cook meat because cooked meat is more efficiently digested. So you get more nutritions and calories. I wonder, which is why Dredd says, which is why I previously made the comment about variance. Yes, throughout the world's options, providing options, be suggestions or templates, and giving players the option to build. Yeah, and I love this idea of giving options. And even if you think about, yeah, you might have a genetic tendency towards heart disease, but you might not have it. And I actually think this becomes really interesting, right? So if you think about if you have a game, so Dredd, sort of following on your idea, if you have a game where in the rule book you say, hey, this group tends to live in these places, they tend to have these things, here are options, but none of them are required, all of a sudden you are making a statement about stereotypes in the game mechanics. What you're telling people is that stereotypes are not necessarily true, just by the way you did in the mechanics. So all of a sudden, by creating the kind of mechanical system that you're thinking about, Dredd, you are pushing back against stereotypes just in the way that you set up the system itself, the mechanics. So like I think that the way that you're thinking, Dredd, is like so interesting and useful, because all of a sudden, and maybe even I don't know, I haven't decided, it might even be more of a pushback against stereotypes to have multiple options present and show the ways in which people don't have necessarily all of them, but might have some of them, might be more of a pushback than not having anything said, because at least then the conversation's being had. Right, so that's interesting.
She's very pale.
Uh-oh.
Is she unwell?
Yes. She's a fighter, but the fever on her won't lift. It only burns hotter. Her name is Shiana, my sister.
Isn't there anyone in Sunfall who can help?
We're refugees. We know our place. And there's only one healer in the territory. He's difficult. His soul is in shadow.
His soul is in shadow.
What does that mean?
Galiv. That's him. He's very clever, but he has little care for people. Perhaps the desert scoured it all away. Perhaps he was always like that. Either way, I know he won't help us.
Well, I'll see about that. Where would I find him?
Last I heard, he was patching up soldiers at Blazon Arch. Another border battle.
Oh, yeah.
I'll keep the moon from your brow.
Yeah, that sister's not doing well. We've got some quests, apparently, to look into. What is going on? It's like there's some refugees running around here. Let's, what do we have? Yeah. Oh. There's a supply crate over there. Let's get those supplies, shall we? Regional variants, I do like that. Pick 2 features from this table, pick 1 from this table. Do that with players when it makes sense, swapping out racial features. Yeah. Like a surface dwarf variant wouldn't have dark vision or something. Yes. But you know what I think would be really... here's the question that I think becomes really crucial when thinking about this. Do you know what they don't do that with? They don't do that with humans. They don't have subracial variants of humans that do more this or that. probably because people would get real creeped out real fast. But then we don't get creeped out when we do it with dwarves. However, yeah, Barontor, I'm going to look into Fantasy Age. Picking a feat, but see, other races also get to pick feats. Now, what I like about Surface Dwarf, or it could be used that way. What I like about Surface Dwarf.
Don't start thinking you're welcome here.
Okay.
Tolerated.
Thanks. Stop being rude. Oh, that's cool, Krellin. So what I was thinking is that if we didn't think of them as sub-races, right? Because I think we can get to trickiness there. If we thought about them instead as
The only thing this ceasefire will accomplish is prolonging
cultural variance, right? I think that would go a long way. So rather than saying, like a surface dwarf is a cultural variant rather than a racial variant. I think human variance is a thing in some systems. It's essentially a pick X and pick Y and run as a weird version of humans, yeah. Pathfinder had racial traits for that, though. They are just mechanically inferior to the basic options, and most people never consider them. So yeah, I think if you call them cultures or origins, I think it gets around some of the kind of ickiness that sometimes shows up. Hey, guess what? I can maybe sell some things now that I have too many of. I think we should do that. Glint Hawk. So we're gonna actually sell some things is what we're gonna do. I could see wizards being worried about the social implications of having official human subraces. Yeah, right. And backgrounds. And so I think that if they expanded on that, so if they sort of framed all of these things as backgrounds, that might be interesting. Right, so you could have. No, I'm not gonna. Don't worry, Krellin. I won't empty it too much. Just a little bit. Like I'm not gonna go wild where all of a sudden I don't have all of the things all the time. You know, I'm not gonna go wild. I mean, what that would be? What would even happen? That would be madness. So yeah. I see all. So I think that there could be some ways to do this that feel. And I know people are like, "Why do you have all of these things?" Like, well, what if I need them? Like, what if I need them for something? So, Forlasanto says, so in design, using too many fonts is a big mistake. It can have a range of bad effects, but the overall effect is that the message gets lost in too much information. The main reason to stick pretty closely with the stereotypes of races and not include all the sub-races is so that when you do include a sub-race, it still has impact. Another problem of sub-races would be that mechanically, some of them might just be better than others, and that lends to dangerous territory. Dread says, I'm mentally cataloging this for my own game world, by the way. Specifics are in flux, but the content and intent is and has been there. But I'm seeing trends in the community, a small segment here, as I further develop the world. Oh, that's great. That's really interesting. Do I have healing potions? Does it spark joy, says Kanmari. I have healing potions. I feel like I don't need... I feel like I've got a lot of extras, and maybe we can just get rid of some of the extras. You know, just empty out a little bit of space while we're here. Just inventory management. Yeah, and it's funny because I was thinking about GURPS World War II has templates that I think are they're not templates, they're lenses. They have lenses, which I believe are optional, and the lenses are national lenses. They are national stereotypes. Also, Dread, I'm really happy that we can be useful and helpful. That makes me happy. It sparks joy. So we have, let's see, that's modifications. We should probably sell some modifications. Let's just, we're gonna sell green things that we're gonna do. Just get rid of some green things. It'll be fine. See, look at that. Did you see how cool I was? I sold multiple things. And let's see where we got.
I wonder how business is out in the savage east.
My poor Noel is gonna. Is it a? Uh-oh. What's happening? I wonder how many of the issues that people have with the mechanics of D&D races are decisions that Wizards of the Coast made deliberately because they set the game in specific worlds. Even if many games don't stay strictly in the settings. Oh, that's interesting. It's an interesting thought, Pumpkin.
The summary. Proud tradition.
Oh, Falcon is cool. Oh. So it's some kind of gladiator arena? It's what it looks like over there? Huh. What do you, by the way, what are y'all playing right now? Dread, what are y'all playing? I wonder how much of it is also creating because of their own history, not wanting to rock that standard. Yeah, and also brand, right? You know, sort of thinking about brand recognition. Hey, there's stuff up there. We should probably go check it out, huh? I feel like we should. Okay, let's do it. Let's go up there and see what they have to say for us. By the way, what a great conversation we're having right now. I'm enjoying it very much.
See if your attack on their focus network was entirely successful.
What are you talking about? Did I crash the network or not?
In theory, all should be well.
This is bad. I'm playing Adventures in Middle-earth and D&D 5e, and forever trying to convince people to try their stuff. I need to play some I need to do some RuneQuest. I haven't played RuneQuest. I played RuneQuest back in the 80s, but it was a homebrew world, and I feel like I should just dive into some RuneQuest lore. Because, say, Faerun is supposed to theoretically have specific culture and racial backgrounds, which is how the races would have functioned developing their traits. I'm playing a Gnoll hunter from a Roman legionnaire matriarchal clan. Oh, that sounds interesting.
Another savage. At least it's not as bad as Meridian.
These people are rude. Does anybody notice that?
Yes. Welcome to the Citadel, Aloy. I'll check back with you in a moment. In the meantime, circulate.
I think right now we are in the stronghold of the enemy. The people who keep trying to... Oh, Salt Marsh. Salt Marsh. Right now I'm playing Salt Marsh. I'm playing in Call of Cthulhu. Let's see what we have here. I'm playing an Adeptus Mechanis Genitor, which means I'm a tech priest who believes in biological upgrades rather than technological ones. Oh, that's cool. Ooh. I'm playing a college student in Call of Cthulhu with Rissa. I am playing... What do we have over here?
Haven't you noticed all the empty tents lately?
I mean, I suppose I could go down there, but I think I won't just yet. I'm playing in Saltmarsh, my emo dwarven cleric. I'm playing Sunday Funday, a human. Ooh. Pathfinder. Game is currently an orc warband that occupied a dwarven frontier outpost a few decades ago. Falcon Mavin is a gnoll from the plains north of the Orcish Holdings. Her clan controls the majority of that region for a variety of reasons.
Yesterday's gone.
Oh. Hopefully this week I'll also be playing my Hobbit Hildebrand, exploring more of post-Ring War Mordor. Ooh. You know what I think would be really interesting, just personally, for me, personally, I'd be very interested in more fantasy games that have different campaign concepts than the standard go adventuring. Like, more, like, for example...
Karja will honor the ceasefire, but can we expect the usurpers to act honorably?
Outlanders, if you want to hear about today's bounties, head for the throne room. You're not going to make any shards by standing out here.
Oh.
Filthy mercenary bottom feeders.
I'll take the shards, even if it means having to listen to Bahavas.
I hear the Shadow Carja.
What are you
Interesting.
waiting around for, Outlander? Bounties are announced inside.
Oh, okay, well, I suppose I'm following that way, apparently. What's going on?
Down, Outlander.
Eyes down. Who are these people? I don't know. I get sad as a GM when every orc and goblin gets murdered. It's a D&D thing, but if you think about it ecologically, orcs and goblins are going to have to trade with each other and with humans, not just murder babies and burn crops. I really don't like the idea that as races, orcs and goblins are evil. I'd rather have players thinking this tribal and perhaps xenophobic. You know, it's interesting because I GM Cthulhu for Trooper. That's true. I'm playing an Infinity Patrol agent in a GURPS game, currently on a mission in ancient Greece. Looking forward to Cthulhu Confidential. I'm running Cthulhu Confidential tomorrow. It's one shot, but it might be 2 sessions. We'll see. Part of it's to time out how long it will take. I'm prepping for French Resistance. I'm prepping also for Clockwork Dominion for Gen Con. I feel like that's what I got going on. Oh yeah, so I just like ideas of different campaign startups. Like maybe, for example, you all are orcs in a dwarven fortress on an outpost, right? Like that's a really interesting campaign setup. You know, like I Dread, like I like this. Like they're an orc warband that occupied a dwarven frontier outpost, right? That's cool. That's such an interesting setup, and it's not the same kind of setup you always get where you're just like make an adventurer go to the inn, get a quest, and then go. But like that's interesting, and I love it when you have new concepts. Like for example, maybe you are all protectors of a grove, or maybe you are a merchant group. Like I don't know. There's like a lot of things you could do in your in a fantasy setting.
Don't start thinking you're welcome here. You're only tolerated.
Why are you all so rude? Don't be rude. There is a lore reason in my world why orcs are as they are. There's more than one orc clan, and they have different traits and subculture structures based on their area. Again, limited in details. That is fair. Oh, I was going to say that in Banestorm, goblins are not evil. They're a regular race of people that hang out with people.
By the glory of the sun revealed. Behold, radiant Edaman, the one true Sun King, the light in shadow, whose will is light and whose light is law.
I command Lucius Bahavas to speak in my behalf.
By the will of radiant Edaman does the sun glare down mercilessly upon the traitor Uthid. To the hunter who brings his head to us shall go a bounty of 500 shards.
More prisoners than royalty, don't you think?
Mm-hmm.
Love your hair.
Who's this woman?
You and I need to chat, little huntress.
Oh.
The green tent down in Shadowside. I'll be waiting.
We're busy.
We both know you're no killer for hire. Uthid is innocent.
Oh.
So come see me while there's still time to save him.
A little bit of drama.
So, the way in I spoke of is right behind you.
You've got to be kidding.
Not at all. And you needn't worry about the Kestrels. They'll be too busy acting important to pay attention to you.
First time in the Citadel.
Oh.
Gotta see the sun ring from on high.
There's stuff going on in the game. What's going to happen?
They want us to see this, boy. It makes quite an impression.
They're talking. Okay, good. So, Trooper, says Barantor, you are talking about a group-themed campaign. I am. I've thought about those, but it's hard to get the players to agree to having one concept instead of having a lot of different ones. Barantor, I have thoughts about that. I have a lot of thoughts about that. And my thoughts are, right, that hat is so practical. I was like, what are you doing with that hat? He has another group of orcs in the world from a dead campaign that is in the swamps, and they're different. Worshipped a blood tree. Oh, that's cool. She's totally flirting with Aloy. I want to find out what's up with her. So the thing about group concepts is I find resistance to agreeing to group concepts has a lot to do with being trained in D&D. That's my experience. That D&D itself as a game encourages players to make characters on their own and not ever like they're just like, I'm gonna make a paladin or I'm gonna make a rogue. You know, again, like there's no sense of coherence very often in D&D. And if you are used to playing D&D, you internalize this idea that you play whatever you want without any kind of sort of thinking about it. But there are a lot of other games where there's a built-in group concept. Shadowrun. The group concept is that you're going to be a Shadowrunner. Call of Cthulhu. The group concept is that you're going to be some kind of investigator. Whispers, which is a game that Rissa and I were both players in. It was like a 3-year game. It was the game I talked about where we played for 3 years with almost no combat. It had a great group concept, which was that we all were members of a private detective agency that investigated informational crimes. And Traveler, right? Group concept, you're all on a mercenary free ship. There are a lot of games besides D&D where there is some kind of group concept buy-in. And I think, and I will tell you, I've actually run, Vampire does not have a group concept either. Yeah, that's true, it doesn't. And then people, although oftentimes you'll say you have to be Camarilla, but basically it also doesn't. This is true. And it also has splat books where people get to sort of pick their own thing. And it's interesting, right? Because I was thinking about, in my life, I've GM'd a lot of games with group concepts. I think most of them have in some ways. Like I had one where everyone was a Three Musketeer. That was the group concept. I do a lot of espionage where everyone's a secret agent. Group concept, right? So I do it a lot. And for me, the key is you have to I pitch different concepts and I have them buy in from the beginning. On the other hand, says Forlo Santo, the most fun D&D 5e game I have ever played was an all-bard party. Group concept. We were basically a medieval rock band traveling from town to town, playing concerts and defeating evil. Gem of the Holograms D&D edition. That's amazing, Forlo Santo. That sounds so good. I would totally play in a game like that. Dread Branch says, in our groups, we actually talk and build together while we hang out. Most of the time, our characters have solo origins. Other times, I've had a 5e Dragonborn Paladin. It was paired with a Cleric of Bahamut, played with by my friend. See, those are good times. Werewolf, that's right, Werewolf has pack. Like, that sounds like such a good game for Losanto. And that's the thing, is if you can get a group concept that everyone's excited about, then, I love that experience. And I often find it's not that hard to do it once. If you get people to buy in, it's not that hard. And I think part of it has to do with selling the concept a little bit. And knowing your players and trying things out. And sometimes you do it for a one shot. Like Pumpkin said, it's easy to get people to sort of agree to concepts for a one shot. And that's certainly true. Actually, I did play Death Clock in a play-by-post. It didn't last long, but I was Nathan Explosion as a warlock. See, this is exciting. All right, so here are all of our people. All right, what do we have here?
You're not staying long, I assume.
No, I'm not staying long. Don't be rude. These people are super rude. Side note.
Fire means we'll be getting more supplies coming through Sunfall. I'm all for it. I heard old Bahavas
This is insane.
Hardly.
They're going to see me.
You underestimate the ease of hiding it. The balustrade. It's a short drop from there.
Okay. My group tends to build characters in Session 1, Part 1, which is both helpful for new players and is also nice to be able to coordinate to get a functional party or a group theme if you want. Yeah, totally, Pumpkin. I'm with you. It was 4E, which was fun because Warlocks could be Constitution-based. Oh. I figured Nathan was definitely a guy who has Constitution as his highest stat. Yeah, and today I learned. And actually, this is, for me, I think this is really interesting. Let me see. What do we have here? Oh, hey, look. Climbing things. I'm just going to look a little bit around, see what we have. Just looking. And I think that...
Gonna watch some slaughter. This is the place to do it.
I don't like heights.
You worry me, boy.
Maybe I should...
Worry me.
talk to them.
If you've got a problem with me, talk to Odin. If he can stand his breath.
I have no problem with you. That's fine. I know. I should just like push them, right? Just like whoop. Oops. I played a 5e game where the premise was that we were all magic users in a mage's guild, sort of based on the fairy tale. Oh, see, Pumpkin, that sounds also awesome. That was the campaign that I got a squirrel deified and played an otter person. I just want to say that I also am a fan of the idea of like an all mage group. I mean, I just think it can be very positive. I think that can be a really good thing. And let's not die. Sweet. We're not going to die right now. This is what we're going to do. What we're going to do is not die. And this is... Notice, rather than just jumping off the cliff, I'm climbing down.
On the other side of the tower, look for a vent.
Okay, but I do want to talk to that woman who was flirting with me.
I see you've been here before.
Obviously. Now, it's very important that you hear what I'm about to say.
Uh-oh.
I've shown you the way in, but this humble vent marks a point of no return. Before you descend into the depths here, you should be fully committed, equipped, and focused. No distractions. If you have errands to run, do them first or hold your peace. I won't tolerate whining. Is that clear?
You'll tolerate what I give you, Silence. I didn't ask you along for the ride.
Hey, that was the key. That was the little clue that this is the point of no return in the game, and that if we go here, we're never coming back. Subtle. Subtle. I would like to maybe not trigger the end game just yet, because I want to see that woman and chat with her. So, yeah. Right? I think we have to climb back up. I think this is what we got to do. So, this is going to be our... We're going back up, everybody. There's got to be a way to visit our friend. I think. Yeah, we're going to do it. We're I want to meet that woman.
I'll come back later. That woman said to meet her at a green tent down in the camp. Might be worth a visit.
That's what I think. I think it might be worth a visit. Plus we've got a quest. So yeah, and I think you can get... I think players can do it. I think that you just have to get them excited about it. You know, about the group concept. And if they do, then they're in it. And then it's really cool. Like, you know, Murderface is the bassist, whose parts are pre-recorded. There was a... Hello. There was a... What was it? There was a... One of my favorite D&D games that I played, 3.5. We didn't get to finish it, sadly. It was Eberron, and we had a really good... It was... I think it was one of my favorites because we had a good group setup, a group concept that we all agreed to, and it made for a really good coherent group that had really good motivation and was really interesting. Hey, Crit Witch. And the concept was that we were all... So there was a... Seer, right? So I think it was Seer is that country that got destroyed, right? In some kind of calamity. We don't know what it was. Seer, right? So the concept was that we were from a minor noble house in Seer. And we were outside of the lands of Seer on a quest when the whole calamity happened and our entire country was destroyed. And so we go home and like our whole entire home is gone. And so we are basically refugees. And so one player was playing the eldest child of this noble house, who was a daughter, and she was a fighter. I played the second-born, who was a cleric, because second-born children often go into the church. And then we had the court's vizier, who was a wizard. We had the court's jester, who was a bard, and we had a man-at-arms, who was another kind of fighter, I think. And we were all out on some kind of mission to get an artifact, right? And we were on our way back when everything got destroyed. And then that was really interesting because like our entire home was destroyed, and there are these sort of like refugee spaces, and we were like, okay, we want to try to find out what happened to our home. We want to try to sort of reform, get political power so we can maybe get some lands for our people. Like, so we have this whole really cool set of larger motivations and connections between us that kept us adventuring. We're like, well, we need money. Like, we need to get gold and influence. We need to sort of do things to get favors. We need to, you know, delve to get treasures so that we can try to fund this attempt to sort of reclaim. And it was just really, it was great. It was a really fun campaign, and it wouldn't have been
more ancient than the old ones.
It wouldn't have been as successful if, let's see, I'm looking for a green tent. It would not have been as successful if we hadn't have had a group concept. And it worked really well. Also, chat's not moving. How are you all doing?
The food is from Dowager Queen Nasadi, little ones. Her Highness knows times are hard and helps when she can.
Oh, good.
Eat. Bring some home for your families, if you have one. I've heard whispers about you. Bride's machines, fancy spear, delightful freckles. Some even say you have a conscience. How extraordinary.
Who are you?
Oh, thanks.
Obviously not one of the Shadow Karja.
My name is Vanasha. For now, all you need to know is that I'm a whisper of reason in this howling pit of insanity.
I know how that feels.
I was talking RPGs.
And so does Uthid. He's a good man, so naturally the Shadow Karja want to murder him. I've done some digging, and I think he's headed for the Green Climb. It won't take those mercenaries long to find him. He could use some help, if you're so inclined.
Come on to my house, come on.
Come on in my house, come on. Come on in my house, I'm gonna give you candy. Come on in my house, I'm gonna give you everything. Thank you for the host, Crit Witch. Thank you very much. Put on those headphones. Do work in the kitchen? I need to go to the kitchen. Also, gut punch. Gut X punch. Psh. Is the X gut punch, is the X a sound effect? So is it like gut psh, punch? My current candy are Vienna fingers, cookies. She is a really good protagonist, and Ashley Birch is doing great. Oh, it's just a separation of the words. But wouldn't it be awesome if every time people said gut psh, punch, they had to make the sound effect? Because that would be a little hilarious, is all I'm saying. I played in a Song of Ice and Fire RPG campaign, and I've got to say, when you build the group, in that case house, before building the characters, it really sets the tone and makes the game about something larger than the individual characters. Ooh, you know, for Lasanto, I have the Game of Thrones game. My games are not alphabetized, so it's over there. And I've always wanted to play it or run it. I know they're playing a campaign over on Roll for it, and EE was saying that there was some kind of mechanical iffinesses about it, so I don't know about that, but okay, so All right, there you go. Oh, sugar wafers. Oh, those are good too. Is that a puff pastry with cream filling? No. The system was broken. So, peanut butter Oreos. Oh, that sounds good. I should have alphabetized my books by last letter. Actually, this becomes a good question, everyone. Oh, Saturday sushi. I want Saturday sushi. I had some breakfast this morning, so I'm really proud of myself. But I'm going to have a nice sandwich afterwards. So here's the thing. Because I've heard some things about the system not being great. So in what ways is the system not great? This is what I want to know about. So Falcon, tell me more about the system not working well. Also, let's ask her who she is.
Stop being evasive and tell me who you really are.
Stop being evasive? You might as well tell me to stop being charming. It's impossible, but I like you, so I'll tell you a secret. I have friends in Meridian, and I'd like to do favors for them when I can. Uthid might be of use to them, if he survives.
The system is broken in places. However, it is playable if you avoid the creaky boards. You definitely need a cheat sheet for conflict. Yeah, no, she's pretty awesome. I like her. I wonder if it'd be better to use GURPS for it and just use Ice and Fire's RPG as a source book. You know, have any of you played Houses of Blooded? Houses of the Blooded is by John Wick. I have it on PDF for sure. I don't think I have it hard copy. I need to alphabetize these books like so hardcore. I kind of can't handle it right now. I definitely have it on PDF, but I don't know if I have a hard copy. Anyway, John Wick meant to sort of create a anti-D&D in that it's a bit more meta in the sense that it's more about like responsibility in houses, and I think that's sort of like the Song of Ice and Fire RPG, but different because it's coming from a different space. I'd be interested in actually running that game at some point. It also allowed you to use 3.5 characters. Oh. The idea that every setting needs its own system is a bit poisonous. Oh, Krellin. Different John Wick, Levi. Different John Wick. So, you know, Krellin, you just said a thing. The idea that every setting needs its own system is a bit poisonous. And spoiler, I agree with you. But I do know that there's a whole group of people who believe that system should match the setting specifically, and if it doesn't, it's some sort of failure. And I mean, that's where the whole Forge indie scene emerged. That was the before Ron Edwards wrote the GNS theory stuff. He wrote "System Does Matter," and it was basically him saying that generic systems are bad. That's what he meant. But what he was really saying, you know, his whole thing was that you need to make specific systems for a game, and each one should be different. But I like generic systems. I think they're cool. I like a good generic system. I also enjoy games that are very specific to its theme. That's also cool. But I also like generic games, and I don't think there's anything wrong with them. That's all I'm saying. There's nothing wrong with a good generic system. That's all. But also, every setting would result in different mechanics, like doors might not develop in a particular mechanic. So, you know, I'm just saying. So why are you helping Uthid?
How do you know Uthid is innocent?
I'm excellent at making inquiries.
Oh, yes, Levi.
Look, he feeds orphans from his own rations and personally punishes anyone who hurts the old or infirm. The idea that he would try to kill Edelman is ridiculous. He must have found something that can embarrass the priesthood. Otherwise, Bahavas wouldn't risk marking such a well-regarded man for death.
Interesting. Okay. Finding a good generic system is hard, and also finding a good generic system for you is hard, right? And also understanding what the generic system is, I think, is difficult. I think that people don't realize that GURPS, Genesis, Fate, Big Eyes, Small Mouth, Hero, Fudge, Rhesus, Warp, all of these, and there's some more, right? These are all generic systems, but they're not the same, right? They all do different things and have a different feeling to them. And so if you're going to run an RPG in GURPS, it's going to have a different feeling than if you run it in Fudge. It'll have a different feeling than if you run it in Warp or Hero, right? And so that you have to pick the right generic system for you, for what you're wanting to run. And I think that people forget that, like, they're not actually all the same, that they actually have different feelings for them. And so something that might work well for this would not work well for that. And Bill Stoddard, who's the GM that ran the Whispers game for us, he writes for GURPS a lot, and he runs new games. Like his pattern, things that he moved, so it's a little bit different now, but like the old pattern was for the Stoddard Circle, was that he would run 3 games at a time, and each game would last for 2 years, right? So, and every 2 years he'd switch games, and he'd send out a big proposal. He said like 20 players, 20, 25 players in his player base. He'd send out proposals to everybody with a bunch of different, he'd spin out a sheet with a bunch of different proposals, and we would all then rank the proposals that we wanted to be in most, and then he'd group us into 3 groups for the 3 games. Like there was a voting system, right? So we could elect points for different games, and then he would group us into 3 groups. And so he would like put out a proposal with like, I don't know, 6 or 7 game concepts, and we'd all vote in the ones we wanted, and out of that, the most popular ones would get picked, and you'd get put in the games that you wanted, et cetera, et cetera. Anyway, my point being that even though he's a GURPS author, he didn't always use GURPS. Like sometimes for some things he would use BESM, sometimes he would use GURPS, sometimes he would use a specific system. So it kind of depended on what the concept was, because he recognized that they were not all the same. Let's see. Yeah, Bill's really good at mapping his idea to a system that he thought was a good fit. Some issues with the Song of Ice and Fire RPG. The NPCs are badly spec'd. It's easy to build glass cannons. There are some advancement options which push a character into being game-breakingly OP that you have to forbid. It doesn't handle languages realistically. Oh. See, here's the problem for Losanto. That if I'm going to run Song of Ice and Fire RPG, I would want to know what those advancement options are that are game breaking, and I'd want to know it before we started. I wouldn't want to find out after the fact, and those are the things maybe somebody would say on Reddit. Some of the problems with generics is you have to come up with some of the things it might not cover fully in the way that you want. There's space for both. Oh, totally. Overall, you just get the impression that some of the portions of the game are not playtested at all. Yeah, and yet, house management is pretty good. It looked really good. I was reading through the house management, and it looked really fun. It produces exactly the right effect, which is that the players have to be proactive to keep everything from collapsing around them. See, that sounds really fun. Conflict scales well from bartering for goods all the way to full-scale warfare, and roleplay tends to be very deep. Yeah, see, like, that just seems like really fun stuff. Like, that seems like something that I would really love to be involved in. Like, that seems really fun. I suppose you just need to know. Well, Burning Wheel itself is specific, but people may have extracted it out, right? In the same way that Apocalypse World was specific, and then people extracted that system out to be more generic. Although, you know, again, it still has its own particular flavor. And I think BESM was also specific and then extracted out. Age, the Fantasy Age system, was specific, extracted out. Genesis was specific, extracted out. And actually, there are a number of games that start specific and then get extracted out into a generic. Could the house management divorce from the game easily to stand on its own? That's a very good question, Barontor. What do you think about that, Falcon?
What makes you think he's on the green clan?
He knows he'll be pursued, so he needs a hideout that's both familiar and defensible. He once single-handedly held off an entire bandit clan in those foothills. My guess is that he'll fall back on what worked before.
I'll help Uthid if I can.
I'll do what I can for Uthid. But what about you?
What about me what?
What will you do while I risk my life?
Useful things, little huntress. Look for 3 dead trees south of Sunfall. They mark the start of the green climb. Good luck.
I like that she smiled at me at that moment. It's fine. I'm gonna talk to her just one more time. Just one more time.
I'm flattered you want to chat more, but if we're gonna save Uthid, time is short.
It's fine. It's fine. I just wanted to chat a second. It's cool.
You really do.
This woman, I like her. She's got sass. She's got some spunk. I would say Burning Wheel Hub and Spokes is generic, yep, but geared towards fantasy, and Burning Wheel as a whole specific, yeah. All right, so here's what so here's where we're at. Let's we've got two little quests, right, that we've got pondering for us. They are not that one. Trader's Bounty and Healer's Oath. I feel like the Healer's Oath is real fast. So let's just oh. It's kind of far away, isn't it? But we're gonna do it. We're gonna just head over. We're gonna head down there and knock out one of these little side quests. It's not like there's not a lot left. We can do that before we leave, and then we're gonna help. You know, it's good. It's fine. Let's Oh, hey, while we're here, let's get a new skill. I can. What can I do? I can do faster reload while in concentration. I mean, we can do that because why not? I should get more Timmies. There's a Timmy in the area. I can just like ride down there. Let's you know what? We're gonna just go full on stealth right now. We're just gonna do it full on stealth. That's it. And I believe we can get a Timmy. There's a Timmy spot right there. So I think we go south, we can get a new Timmy. And we're gonna get one. Savage Worlds for the Klingon campaign. I've tried porting the House Manette system to other systems with some success. In particular, it works really well for creating a fun Klingon Empire campaign. Oh, that's interesting. I think we can get some Timmies right over here. And the question is, let's see if we can find a hiding spot. Hello, Timmy. I don't even know if you can... Ugh. See, the problem is, sneaking up on them is, like, not easy. Can I just... Just gonna do it. Savage Worlds was another one that, I forgot to mention. But I also need to try Savage Worlds. My old group was super into, that was all D&D all the time. Got super into, super into Savage Worlds. Like they kind of went from D&D right into Savage Worlds the whole time. And I actually kickstarted the new edition of Savage Worlds, so I've got the PDFs of it. The hard copies haven't come in yet, but I also need, clearly... Oh, hello. We're gonna just run. Let's just run. More running. We're just running. It's cool. Okay, I don't think we're being chased. Okay, I don't think we're being chased. Yeah, so I know a lot, so I have the PDFs of the new edition, and I know my old D&D group, when they finally decided to stop being D&D forever, they ended up doing lots of Savage Worlds. And I've got, Savage Worlds, Flash Gordon, because I kickstarted that one, because I love the film, because it had the great soundtrack. I think Savage Worlds is really quite good. I think Genesis is better than Savage Worlds, and is basically the successor to Savage Worlds as the best generic RPG. Oh, that's interesting. You know, I've heard mixed things about Genesis. So I'm like Barantor, I'm really interested in why you think Genesis is better. Because I've heard mixed things, which may not be, you know, I'm not saying those mixed things are true, but I have heard mixed things. I've heard the mixed things I've heard of all but have been about the dice mechanics. That some people love the dice mechanic. They love that you can succeed and have bad things happen to you, or fail, have good things happen to you. They really seem to enjoy that. But
Better get off.
Okay, that's fine. But I've also heard people who don't think the probabilities are good in the Genesis system and don't think they work as well. So I would love to hear your take on it, what you think about it. Yeah, so basically the dice system is the kick for Genesis, and I've heard some people love it, and then other people don't love it as much. I'd be interested in trying it, though. To be honest, I'm interested in trying basically all the systems and seeing what they're like. I could talk for hours about why the dice mechanics are the best damn dice mechanic ever, but really, it would take a while. That's fair. I would be interested... Does anybody know what the probabilities are for them? That would be interesting to me. Like, is it a... Hello. I'm going to talk to you.
Believe the healer?
I had planned to spend the day gazing at the lands of my exile and feeling sorry for myself.
I will also try anything.
From Sunfall, so this could be interesting.
I came from the tent city there. There's a sick girl. Her brother told me about you.
The answer is no.
What?
No, I can't.
Thank you, Santo.
Nor my time to administer it. My resources are already spread thin as the soiled cloths I have to use for dressings.
Thank you for the stats, Santo. I'm gonna look forward to reading them. Yeah, Stars Without Number is basically basic D&D, right? It's a Stars Without Number is one of the OSR games, right? It's Leviathan was the game on Geekspace TV that used Stars Without Number, and it had that very super deadly vibe where you die super easy at first level. That was very basic D&D.
Why won't you help?
Look at it from my perspective. What meager goods I can get must be smuggled in. That's expensive. The behemoth's share goes to the military. Of course, there are
They did, Krellin.
Helis's kestrels are so prone to sticky ends. What's left, that's for the nobles, who can pay well for my services.
Look at it from my perspective. A little girl is sick.
I think we are calling to each other across an ideological impasse.
I'm not going to say what if I make you. I'm going to say you really won't help.
You're kind of an ass, healer.
There's no cure for a conscience, but in this line of work, I've built up an immunity to it. And yet, if you feel so strongly about this one girl, perhaps we can make a deal. My charity for a Thunderjaw heart.
That's not how charity works.
It is how deals work. You'd settle my debts. For a while.
I already have the part.
I do.
Wow.
See?
We already have a deal. Quickly now, let's salve your poor conscience.
See to the girl, and it's yours. Not before.
Oh, please. On my oath, this girl will survive to see our sad future. You and I shouldn't be seen together. Go on to the slums ahead of me. I'll find you presently. You do stand out in a crowd.
Okay. Well, I think we just did a good job. We did a good deed. Let me get my mount and head back. I think we're good. Yeah, he's totally not... It's like not a nice person. Not a nice person. I hope my mount is still waiting for me. Yeah, they do. You know, I was reading about redheads in the UK. There was like a whole spate redheads being stabbed and teased, and like people make a joke about sort of redheaded discrimination in the UK, but apparently like it is not a thing. Like it is, it does happen, you know, and like so much that we're talking about like actually also violence, and that's messed up. That's all I'm saying. Like that's messed up. Yeah, and like that's creepy. And I was trying to figure out like what is this all about, and I'm pretty sure it's a racial thing. That it's that it's related to racial stereotypes. Red hair has a chance of genetically disappearing. Oh. And that being that redheads in the UK are more likely to be Celts, right? So Scottish or Irish, and that it's a part of an extension of anti-Scottish, anti-Irish discrimination, racialized discrimination. So that is what I learned. Can we talk?
It's you. Hello again.
So creepy, right?
Want someone to see your sister.
How did you? What did we do to deserve? No, wait. I don't even want to ask, in case a shadow passes over and it's gone.
Yo.
Boy.
She'll have his full attention, won't she?
Once I'm freed of other distractions, yes.
All right. So I feel like it's good. We did it. Can I? Are you leaving now?
Thank you again for giving her a better chance.
It's not good. It's amazing how many things we can find to use as a reason to threaten or oppress others. Right? I mean, like, it's crazy.
I knew a Shiana once. She sang in a tavern. How is your sister's singing voice?
She likes ball games. She wants to be a soldier.
Yeah, it's like a fake beard with fake glasses. He's in hiding. He's in hiding. Now, where's my horse? There we go. I think we have, which always spun along the lines of, well, I guess there's no good reason not to be a terrible person. So Savage Worlds and Genesis versus Genesis. Savage Worlds is faster and produces some great high adrenaline moments. Genesis tends to be slower to roll and requires you to contemplate the results for a few seconds. Genesis handles social character builds, and Savage Worlds does not. Savage Worlds does do social interactions, but if someone builds a strong face character, they're going to go things are going to go pear-shaped. Face characters are not an afterthought in Genesis. Genesis allows players to build characters that match their character concept. For Losanto, that's really interesting. That's very interesting. Well, we keep being told there's not enough of stuff for everyone, and as long as we continue to operate on the mindset there isn't enough stuff, we're going to make up reasons to take stuff away from others. Yeah.
Get down from that machine.
No, I'm fine. Don't worry about it. Don't stress out about me and the machines. Like, I'll be fine. These people, man, they're so stressed out. Like, I'm okay. I'm also dangerously low on medicinal herbs, just for the record. Gang, I actually think we are sort of close to endgame here. Yeah, and Krell notes, side note, there is totally enough stuff for everyone. Yeah. I want to set up that one other... We have a side quest, Trader's Bounty, and let's activate this quest and show it on the map. Oh, it's way over there. So that's a place we need to go, but if you notice, there's stuff right here that we haven't done. So I think we should just move down there first. I think we should just head south, take care of these things, open them up on the map before we end. whereas Savage Worlds does not. Savage Worlds does have better roleplay prompts and its hindrances, but Genesis is more modular in that regard. Genesis's magic system is seriously 1,000 times better than Savage Worlds. Huh. Does Genesis, Barentor asks, does Genesis seem comprehensive enough to cover basically anything, or is it geared towards one or two genres better? People do need to learn to calm down. This is a good, Barentor, that's a good question. Let me add another question for Losanto. How does it do in terms of tone? I know it's coming out of Star Wars, which is pretty cinematic. Does Genesis do, is it basically geared towards cinematic play, or can you do gritty and low powered, or not, right? Like, I mean, so for example, Savage Worlds, not gritty, right? Not really geared towards gritty play, neither is Big Eye, Small Mouth. One of the reasons why I keep coming back to GURPS is because it allows me to do sort of gritty realist power levels and tones in ways that a lot of the other generics don't, because they're sort of really geared towards cinematic. So with Genesis, that's what I want to know. Can you do a low powered vibe? Is that possible? Is lower poweredness a possibility, or is it not a possibility? Because I do love some low-powered games. Not always and not exclusively, but sometimes I want combat to be deadly, and sometimes I want people to worry. Sometimes I don't want people swinging across chandeliers like it's no big deal. While on the other hand, GURPS can do high-powered, it's not great at it. Krellin says that while GURPS can do it, it's not great at it. I have a hard time answering that comment, mainly because I just don't do a lot of high-powered GURPS. I don't do a lot of cinematic GURPS. I know it has specific cinematic rules, and I did some light cinematic stuff. I did some kind of like verging on cinematic-esque when I was doing Swashbucklers, but I don't tend to do that with GURPS. I know that there are people who do cinematic GURPS a lot and really love it for it, but I really can't speak to that since I don't tend to run it that way. The Genesis core rulebook is not comprehensive enough by itself, but this is mainly due to the fact that equipment and lists and such are left out. These resources are very, very available on the webs, and once you factor that in, Genesis is on par. Is it still gritty realist if it's set in a heroic world, but it's realistic for a character? No. But see, Krellin, actually, I don't know if that's true, because it may be true, but I can't say since I don't tend to run cinematic. But I know people who do. I just don't tend to, so I cannot counter that claim. It may be true, it may not be true. I know there are people who are big fans of cinematic GURPS. I just don't tend to run it, so I can't say. I don't know. It may be true. I don't know. I can't say. Genesis by default is low power. Oh. See, you say that, Krellin. I tend to do low power cinematic if I do cinematic. I don't tend to do high power GURPS in general. So that is another thing that I cannot speak to. But I will say, Krellin, GURPS Supers has gotten a really bad rap. People really didn't like it, but people have said better things about 4th Ed Supers. That GURPS 3rd Ed Supers was not so great, but people seem to like 4th Ed Supers better. That's right. So like that seems to be a shift between 3rd Ed and 4th Ed. Is that people think that Supers is done better in 4th Ed GURPS. I also know that Bill Stoddard, who was our GM with Rissa and I, ran a, what did he call it? I did not put in for this game. What was it called? It was called, what was it called? Rissa, do you remember what it was called? It was the one where people made superheroes based off of 1,000 points. What was it called? I can't remember now. It was something like, yeah, I mean, but also those are the kinds of things, but you remember what it was called, right? It was like something. Because in the setting, superheroes are so powerful that they become their own countries. Like they themselves are their own country. Like they count as their own country. They don't have land, but they themselves are sort of like a country entity. Sorry, Rissa. And I remember people sort of enjoyed that one, like me. 1,000 points. That's not my GURPS jam, I would say. Although if you build up to 1,000, that's fine. I just like starting off with 1,000 is kind of not my jam. So a very light set of rules, but you have to hit up homebrew or official content. There's a lot of how much GM building's involved. 1,000 points. And so for those people who don't know GURPS, in GURPS 4th edition, 150 points is sort of like a standard starting point value. 150. People would say like an average, not heroic, not adventuring type of person who's sedentary and doesn't do much and has no money, might be like 50 points. You might do like 250 if you're doing like a bit more cinematic stuff. So 1,000 is a lot, is what I'm trying to tell you. 1,000 is a lot of points. What can't you do at 1,000 points? Also, how long of employment you built? Yeah, that's I'm Super Batman. That's I can't. So we were playing, Riss and I were playing Transhuman Space, which was the game we were playing together, Whispers. And we started at 250 points, as I think we started at. And by the time, world class. I am grateful you still have all the emails. It was, yeah. And I think we ended in the 400s or so. Like we had like maybe around 401, 405 character points. And it's funny because I remember people saying, oh, 400 points is so unrealistic and it's not real and it's crazy. But I found that by starting at 250 and then building up to 400, the characters that we had that were 400 point characters still felt like realistic characters. We still didn't have like outrageous stats. We still didn't have outrageous skills. It was like 3 years of play and we got from like 250 to 400, but the characters still felt like realistic characters. Oh, that is not the way I want to go. Gang, this whole time I went the wrong direction. We're going this way. And I found that good. An issue I have with Genesis, magic is an optional subsystem, but magic as presented is wide open. By default, the magic subsystem, a character can access whatever effects they have the raw power and cojones to attempt. Because of this, there's no reason to go explore and attain magical knowledge. Yeah, Aki could cook anything, but she wasn't world-breaking. Yeah. This is correct. And it's interesting because I think there are different, well, I will say this. This is a thing I like about GURPS, that there are different magical subsystems that you can, that you could run. Hi, I don't want to fight with you all. I just want to keep going. I don't want to fight. I don't want to fight with you. I just want to go where I want to go, which doesn't involve fighting with you. Okay. I want to go this way. I just don't want to fight with people right now. So what's nice, what I like about GURPS is it does have these multiple magic subsystems. So you can do a traditional kind of search for knowledge subsystem sort of kind of game, but you could also do a freeform magic system. You can do improvisational magic systems.
Never know when I might need these.
It is the Legos of RPGs. However, it's fairly easy to apply minimal constraints to the magic subsystem and produce some dramatically different results. Oh, that's cool. For Lasanto, I feel like you're telling me that I need to check out the Genesis system. I feel like that's what you're telling me. Let's see what's in here. It may not be interesting, but let's see what's in here. It's a gate. Nothing much. Yeah, I'm gonna just have to check it out. Oh, hey, look at that. Look how beautiful that is. The thing is, I'm really interested, generally speaking, in knowing, like, I would like to know, have experience playing and or GMing, preferably both, most of the major RPG systems out there, because I want to know how different people do different things. I want to get a sense of what the hobby's doing. Like, those things are all really interesting and important to me. Krellin says, Trooper, there's an RPG system you haven't checked out before. You should check it out. And then I'm like, yeah, I probably should. No, okay, there are some that I probably don't need to check out, but a lot of them I should. Don't leave your grips everywhere. They'll get stepped on, and then they hurt. I was put off by the dice when I first tried Star Wars. I thought it was gimmicky, but once I figured it out, I fell in love with it. Playing more RPGs. That's the dream. So I feel like we should, where are we at? We're at like 311. That's right. Zach S. Zelf, a new RPG system, you should completely ignore it. And that is true. I was like, no, I'm just going to ignore that one. Yeah, Genesis uses the special dice where success and failure is one axis, but then like positive and negative is another axis. So you can have like a positive failure or a negative success, something like that. I just want you to know that you put a rift in my world by telling me that you haven't played all the systems. I haven't played all the systems. Now you all know. That's my secret. Not that I'm angry all the time, but that I haven't played all the systems. So speaking of, if you notice this, I feel like these things look like they're on ground level, but let's just find out. No, that's true. I feel like between us, we've played all the systems. And the thing is, I've played a lot of systems. I mean, see, I should play the Star Wars Genesis system. I've also played Middle-earth role-playing game from back in the day. There's a lot of things. So I feel like maybe I can just check out what's going on over here.
Glinthawks. They never get enough scrap.
Krellin! Do you remember Merp? Oh, what are you doing here? Why? Why? Which Glinthawks are you? Oh, you're those Glinthawks. Hey everybody, Glinthawks are gonna try to kill me at the moment. And we're gonna just have to deal with that. We're gonna just have to like kill this one for a moment. Okay. I've got more Glinthawks running around. Where are you? Hello. Ooh. I'm gonna just kill, I think there are only 3 of them. I think I can probably get them. We're gonna be okay. Don't even worry about it. Hey, don't hit me. Hey, I'm talking to you, and my talking involves you not hitting me. Rude. All right. And there's one more. One more. Where are you? There you are. I'm gonna just kill this one and we're gonna be fine. It's gonna be cool. Don't even worry about it. Ooh. Where are you? Gonna just give me 1 second. I'm gonna kill this one. I'm gonna read it. All right, good. We're fine. We just killed those things. They're out of the way. Merp. I'm trying to organize a Merp game. Pumpkin, you're trying to organize a Merp game right now? Old school Merp? I think there's a new One Ring coming out. Oh, interesting. Oh. Oh, hey. Pipe bird. I like it. I think the One Ring is supposed to be a low power set during the War of the Ring. Something I think would be great, although probably not possible, be Trooper or someone running a regular game pretty much just showcasing and letting people try different systems. That would be so fun. I mean, I suppose that was sort of what tabletop was about, right? They were trying to do that. Genesis generates success, fail, advantage, disadvantage, and triumph, despair. Triumph and despair is basically like crits. Advantage, disadvantage represents collateral effects, such as setting up your teammate for his power play or overextending with your swing. Yeah, get to his Patreon up to the point where he can quit his job and start doing a showcase. Well, but they sometimes did TTRPGs, right? They did Dragon Age. They did that one that I kickstarted, the Rebel one, the Sell Out With Me. They did Discover Them. Yeah, Titanfall was a different show. Secret. I have a secret Patreon. Nobody knows about it. Like, it's really secret. It has been all of the secrets. But look, Rissa's helping me out by playing Cthulhu Confidential with me tomorrow. So it's going to be like, you know, so I'm very excited about that. Because that's going to, like, it's part of the plan, everybody. Oh, there was a really good Glinthawk that has now been pushed down the ravine. Wait, who just... Oh, hey, I think we just got a rando, like an automated bot who wanted to come and say hello to us. And... You know, I'm just saying RPG showcases. So we had a rando bot apparently. Just, oh no, it was you were yelling. Aw. So I believe there may be around here. Let's see. This way? This way? Okay, you see where we're at? The thing we are looking for ultimately is over there. Do you think I can just jump off this cliff? Okay, look, I'm just asking for a friend. Do you think I can just jump off this cliff a little bit? Yes. You don't think it will be bad for me to attempt to jump off this cliff? Oh, it was bad. I died. I thought I could make it. No, okay, you were all right. I died. I died. I did. I died. I did not, I just wanted to, you're right. I should have waited for the answer because I died. Yeah, I did. I died. This was death number 2. Hey, everybody, here I am. Where am I right now? Oh, I know where oh, dang it. Thank you, Cher. Crit Witch says, you all saw the glint in my eye and it wouldn't have mattered. It wouldn't have mattered. All right, y'all. So it is 3:19 and I think I should go because I want to have lunch and prep for Cthulhu Confidential tomorrow. I think I have to go and remake the overlay and all that business. So I've got that work to do. But I think since we are now doing Saturday streams on here, we could raid somebody, which I'm really excited about. So that's fun. Oh, you know who we could raid? Do you know who we could raid? We could raid Table Story because they are alive right now. We could raid them. Jumping off a cliff. This is how to end the stream. Cool RP. Yes, it was great RP talk. But but also we'll learn more systems. So here's what's what. I'm Trooper SJP. This is the Academic Foxhole. We've got a Discord, and you can join us on the Discord where we talk about all the things. I also have no, thank you, Falcom of them, and also Dread for being here. Cliff diving. So I have a thank you, Barontor. I also have a Twitter, which is Academic Foxhole, and you can find me there if you like. Follow me there if I don't think that was how you spelled Twitter. That wasn't how you spelled Twitter. This is how you spell Twitter. Yes. Also, all the things go up on YouTube, which is just the archive for the moment. Cliff dying. Cliff. Do you cliff dive? No, I cliff die. But here's what's what. You can find me tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern Time on Little Red Dot's channel, little_red_dot, for a 2-hour D&D shenanigans. And after that, you can find me at 6 p.m. Eastern Time on Wednesday, where I will be reading Atlanta Nights and then chatting with you all. And then Thursday, 6 p.m. we'll be doing Night in the Woods, which is the winner of the 2018 Excellence in Narrative game. And then Friday at 2 p.m., Ghost of Saltmarsh. Saturday, 12 p.m. here, more Horizon Zero Dawn. And like, we're coming towards like big plot ends, my goodness. Oh my goodness, right? So that's it. That's all the goodness. So, my friends, we're going to do a raid. We're going to raid Table Story, because it looks like they're live. If you are I know, 10 a.m. is super early. Well, I'm going to start, see, Pumpkin, since I have Wednesdays now, that means we'll get more gaming done on Thursdays. We're going to start with reading a chapter of, one or two chapters of Atlanta Nights, and then we're going to talk RPGs. It's going to be reading and then chatting, like together. Start off with some Atlanta Nights, get us all warmed up, and then go RPG chat. What is 10 8? Oh, that's right, you're West Coast, right? Yeah, I did not make it. That was early. 7 a.m. is early. I avoid waking up that early. But, you know, I'm sure it'll be on the read and then chat. Read and then chat. I'm gonna read it and then we're gonna chat it. West Coast Falcon. I miss the West Coast. I miss it. This is our raid command. If you would like to, you know, use it when we do the raid, you are, what if it was just chat? But it's gonna be reading and chat, because I miss the West Coast, because I want you all to know the amazingness that is Atlanta Nights. Ooh, Rock Band RPG, Empire Records. There was a share. All right, let me make sure that Table Story is still running. Are you running right now? They are running. So we're gonna raid Table Story. That's what we're gonna do. So I want to say, take care, everybody. You all are wonderful and awesome, and I've appreciated you all being here. And I've got good plans for the month. We only have a few months left, though, but we're gonna do it. So I will catch you all on the flip side, and we're gonna go and do some raiding. Bye, everybody.